Bruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Have you heard the saying, chuck in a truck? The guy running a roofing company out of his messy pickup? Well, here's the scary part. Washington doesn't require a test or experience to be a licensed roofer, and they definitely don't require a brick and mortar location. Chuck could be working out of his apartment with 0 employees, hiring random guys off the street. Yikes. And the SBA says 90% of roofers are out of business within 5 years. Jim here, Chief Roof Nerd at RoofSmart, where we do things right. We have a real location on Central Avenue in Kent and a team of 50 full-time roofing pros who actually know what they're doing. We're not some fly-by-night outfit. We've put down roots, or in our case, a cement foundation, so you'll always know where to find us. No disappearing acts, no cut corners, just top-quality work from people you can trust. That's RoofSmart. Come see for yourself, or call us at 206-487-4877, or visit us online at GetRoofSmart.com. That's 206-487-4877 or GetRoofSmart.com.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with 0 investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump and California authorities ramped up their dispute today over the deployment of troops to Los Angeles, beginning with court action. Matt Piper begins our coverage.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has filed an emergency request in federal court to block the president from using the National Guard and Marines to assist with immigration raids. He says the motion is in response to a change in orders from the Guard, which was originally brought in to protect federal buildings and personnel. Now, the Pentagon says it plans to hold secure perimeters around areas where raids are taking place and securing streets for immigration agents.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. President Trump is defending his decision to send in the National Guard and U.S. Marines.
Generations of Army heroes did not shed their blood on distant shores only to watch our country be destroyed by invasion and third world lawlessness here at home, like is happening in California.
The president was speaking at Fort Bragg.
What you're witnessing in California is a full-blown assault on peace, on public order.
Adding, in his words, we will liberate Los Angeles.
At Fort Bragg, President Trump also announced the names of other military bases will revert back to what they were.
We are also going to be restoring the names to Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee.
On Capitol Hill, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was facing questions from angry lawmakers. Representative Rosa DeLauro.
Your tenure as secretary has been marked by endless chaos. Your first day in office, the inspector general, whose job is to investigate waste, fraud, and abuse, was fired. Weeks later, you dismissed the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and 5 other admirals and generals.
And lawmakers complain they haven't yet gotten details about the proposed defense budget, which President Trump has said will total $1 trillion. There was a rare school shooting today in Austria. 10 people were killed, including the suspect, who authorities believe was a former student. BBC's Nick Thorpe.
Local people just here living next to the school said they heard up to 30 shots with a pause between them.
ABC has parted ways with correspondent Terry Moran 2 days after he was suspended for an online remark calling White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller a world-class hater. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the U.S.-China trade talks have been productive. Investors were closely following that news. The Dow finished the day 100 points higher. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Coming up, protesters have been gathering around the federal building in downtown Seattle. Today we'll have a live report from that scene, but first, Nate Connors is at the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk.
Thanks, Aaron. I can tell you this much. It hasn't affected traffic at the moment. Up in Northgate, though, a whole different story. South 5 at 85th, the collision now just blocks the far right lane, still partially blocks the on-ramp from 85th. That means we've opened up a lane from our last report, so you have 2 lanes open at the scene. Drivers are in a bumper-to-bumper backup starting near 175th and Shoreline. Linwood to Seattle, you just hit the 1 hour mark. That's double the norm. Ditching I-5 heading over to Highway 99 will get you past all of this. North 5 scattered backups from 520 through Linwood. Seattle to Linwood is a half-hour commute. Bellevue to Linwood, also a half hour. Bellevue to South Center, plan on 40 minutes. Your typical backup here is slowing at 520 to the VMAC. South Center is actually looking good. North 5 jams up at the Michigan Curve. Seattle to Federal Way is a 40-minute trip. And Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway right now, 45 minutes. You're slow from 405 to 516, and then again south of Highway 18 all the way into Puyallup. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo, and right now it looks like some type of protest is underway outside the federal building in downtown Seattle. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch is there now near 2nd Avenue in Madison. James, what do you see?
Well, right now, Aaron, their numbers have grown. There's probably 20, maybe 25 here now, but only about 8 of those that are clad in black clothing, helmets, and ski masks. They have blocked 2 of the 3 sally ports here. Those sally ports are where they have overhead garage doors where they bring in and take out detainees. They've blocked one side with Lime scooters completely. The other side, they're sitting in front of the door. Apparently waiting for either someone for detainees to be brought in or for detainees to leave. But right now they're just sitting around peacefully. They're quiet, they're holding signs, and nothing much more is going on here. We're waiting to see if anything else develops. If it does, we'll bring it to you when it happens. Reporting live in downtown Seattle, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Thank you, James. Now appears to be a new phase in the manhunt for Travis Decker, the former Army Ranger who's accused of kidnapping and murdering his 3 daughters. KIRO 7 TV's Brooke Griffin is in Chelan County today and watched as armed search teams entered the mountains south of Leavenworth.
There are probably several dozen vehicles there, a lot of different counties, a lot of different types of teams. Everyone is in that tactical gear at this point, including helmets. They are very heavily dressed, even in this hot weather. It's currently 90 degrees out here, but they are moving into Ingalls Creek. I saw them start to shut down the road.
Now, people in that area now being told to secure their homes and cars and to not pick up hitchhikers. Police say it was a tragic accident when a shuttle bus reversed into a smoking shelter at a retirement complex in the First Hill neighborhood. Detectives say 2 elderly women died today. A 3rd woman escaped. The driver of that bus was not arrested. Police found no signs of impairments. Series of mistakes is what led to the deaths of 3 Seattle area climbers last month. Here's KIRO News Radio's Frank Lenzi.
3 of 4 climbers died while trying to descend a route in the North Cascades. According to a U.S. Forest Service report obtained by the Seattle Times, the group did not appear to have the technical expertise needed for the terrain, which was a mix of snow, ice, and rock. Because there were 4 of them, it slowed them down. They also started their descent late in the afternoon after they'd been on the route for 11 hours. Experts recommend finishing the route by noon, and the group relied on a piece of old equipment which proved to be unstable. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
Weather update now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. We are clear tonight. Temperatures in the upper 70s. Come tomorrow, a little bit of a cool down. We'll see highs in the mid-70s. Right now, 78 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
Think about what you'd think about at the time. Think about how you'd feel. It's wrong. It's not who we are, and we're going to fix that too.
Oh boy, wow, it's a lot of pressure. Thinking about what you think about. Here we go with the John Curley Show. All right. Got James Lynch down there looking for the masked invaders. We'll find out when it goes from a protest, demonstration to a peaceful riot.
There we go.
Where is it happening again?
Federal
down
building.
at the Federal Building. Right,
Second
Federal
in
Building.
Madison.
That's right. Yeah, okay. All right, let's dive into it. Okay. Yesterday, I was talking about how Washington State is doing compared to the other states regarding truancy. There was a piece in the Washington Post basically showing you the direct connection between kids not going to school and juvenile crime. So I went to see how we're doing in the state of Washington. Much to my shock, I think we're 9th as far as truancy is concerned. So we got a bunch of other states ahead of us. And like 1 out of 3 kids in Seattle don't go to school on a regular basis. They're truant. We're going to put a call out to Chris Rakedahl because I assume he can't wait to get on and tell us why those are the cases. The numbers. Yeah,
we'll put out another call.
Yeah. We got a whole list of folks that we'd love to have on, but we don't. But the great thing is, you, the listeners, especially those with actually on-the-ground experience, text us and tell us what you know about this sort of stuff. Sometimes correcting some of the numbers or giving them more perspective on it. So we got a text yesterday. What did the guy say?
He said, I'm a shop teacher in Tacoma. I would love to come on and talk about attendance. It's incredibly bad. We don't even feel like teaching because attendance is so bad. We just have to redo the lessons for the kids who missed it. Yet somehow we have a 98% graduation rate.
That's always weird. Here we go, Andrew.
We don't need no education.
We don't need no thought control. You don't need any education or thought control. Nah. All right, I'm going to refer to you as John. Is that okay, sir?
I like the name John. John.
I do too. Okay, John. We're in the John Club. All right, 14 years of teaching. Let's compare how things were when you first started and how things are now. So, first of all, why'd you want to be a teacher?
Oh, I've wanted to do this since I was in 7th grade. I mean, I've always wanted to be a shop teacher. I enjoy it. I get to learn skills that I learned in the trade and at college and pass them on to kids so they can go out and get high-paying jobs. It's very beneficial.
Amen to that. Okay, so 14 years ago, what did you see in the classroom compared to what you're seeing now?
Hardworking, motivated students. Okay. Right? You give them a task, you give them an assignment, it was done. They were wanting to be there. They were active. And then now, it's rough.
It's what's rough about it?
Kids much rather just put their head down and not participate, kind of like silent quitting.
No.
See that every day. Like, come on, let's get to work. And then they're like, no, it's too much energy, too much effort.
So
right, I'll just take the F.
They take the F?
Yeah, they'll take the F. Want to know why?
Why?
Because they can make it up in credit retrieval class, online class, make it right up. 1 hour.
Wait a minute.
Make up a whole semester, a whole year.
Wait, so you prepare a class, and they're going to learn about, I don't know, miter cuts or something like that, whatever it is, or welding. Or we're going to arc weld today. And that's going to take probably 2 weeks for the kid to get some sort of skill that they're able to do it effectively.
Yep.
Okay, so 2 weeks of work. You give them, they don't care. They're back-talking you. You hit them with an F, and then what's the next process for that kid who's failed you?
They can go and take an ingenuity class online and make up that elective credit. And it could be something like art history and get the elective credit.
So art history is very similar to arc welding.
Very, yeah.
Oh, my God. So they know You work on this. You want them to learn this skill. You want them to go out, be productive members of society. And this is a skill that you understand. Hey, guys, this is $130,000 or $150,000, $170,000 a year or more. How hard you want to work is how much money you're going to get. I'm going to pass on my knowledge to you, and you're going to take that, and you're going to find yourself a good career. So then these kids sit there and go, oh, yeah, screw you, Mr. John. And then they know that they can take a 1-hour online class, and that will count as a pass or an A or a B for your class?
Count as the credit, yeah.
It counts the credit?
Yeah. Gives them that graduation credit, the 24 credits that they need to graduate. And they can do that for their history class, their math class, their science, all of them.
So they can fail everything and then make it all up in a couple of weeks and still graduate.
Couple weeks, couple hours.
Yeah.
So at what point do you just say, just screw this? I mean, I'm not teaching anymore. This isn't teaching.
Yeah, that's a tough question. This isn't all the kids, right? No. This is, I would say right now, it feels like about 15, 20% of them are like that, right? The other ones, man, they're hardworking kids, right? They're here to learn. They want to be here, right? But then there's that group that's kind of ruining it for them and leaves a sour taste in their mouth. And then, eventually, some of those kids just get tired of it and they'll go to a community college or a technical college to finish their high school degree.
So can you, if you give them an assignment and then like, screw you, man, and they flip you off or throw something at you, it used to be.
They don't even do that.
What's that?
They won't even do that.
They're so lazy they won't throw anything at you. They just
I'd like that. I'll take some of that.
Can you
They won't even talk to you.
So they're just sitting there, there's high or just sleeping in class. And then it sends sort of a message. It would have seemed to me like you got the kids that are totally motivated, head down, doing the work. They want to get it done. Then you got the kids on the other side that are just laying there, sleeping in class. They don't care. But then you can possibly start to move some of those other kids that were like, oh, should I follow the group on the left or follow the group on the right? Should I just also put my head down and go to sleep? You can attract some of those kids, right, that are in the center. Do I go with the kids that are doing it, or do I go with the kids that are not doing it? And then those are the ones you start to lose, right? Because those are the ones because once you lose them, it's hard to get them to come back. Because hey, why are you working, man? That's a joke. You don't need to work. Just wait and take a class online.
Yeah.
So who do you
Or I don't like that teacher, so I'm just going to not participate. And then I'll just, make up the credit later.
Is this throughout the entire state of Washington, or is this just in the Tacoma School District?
I hear it from everybody.
But then what do the teachers say? I mean, do they go to their union officials? Do they go to the administrators? Does anybody talk to Superintendent of Schools, Chris Rakedahl?
But you got to have leadership, right? You have to have someone that wants to push against the norm and say, hey, this isn't working. We need to change things up, right? These kids are failing. They're wanting to fail. We need to change the system, right? We all know the system's broken. It needs to be changed, right? But it's just not happening. We're not seeing change. We need a change in leadership and direction.
So how did it come to this? Because it doesn't just one day they just all of a sudden decide you can take some 1-hour bullcrap class online and how did it get to there? Do you know?
I know exactly.
What happened?
It's when during COVID, we said, hey, you don't have to log in. You don't have to do anything. Tell you what, we're just going to give you a C. We'll just give you the C. Congratulations, you passed.
Right, because we need to keep the graduation numbers up. We've got to show 92% or 87%, or it was 84, but now it's 91. So look, we're making all this progress. Here's the crazy thing I always see. It's like 60% of kids can't do basic fourth grade math or can't read, at grade level in fourth grade. They can't do it in eighth grade. But then magically, somehow like 94% graduate. I'm thinking, what does it mean to graduate? If you can't do the math and you can't do the reading at grade level and you have more than a majority can't do it, well, then all of a sudden, does the education fairy come along in their sophomore year and boom, hit them with some sort of magic spell that suddenly they're able to read and write? I would assume if you were to get these graduates, I would say a percentage of them are functionally illiterate, and you are doing, not you particularly, John, but the system does a great disservice to have them go out into the world without the ability to read or write effectively.
Oh, it's embarrassing when you send a kid out into industry and you just taught him fractions, just a few months ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's malpractice. If you were a doctor, they would lose their license because the mistakes you're making, either actively making the mistakes or passively just not being up on the latest science or something, you lose your license because you could actually kill somebody. But in a way, you're sort of killing this person more slowly because you're sending them in the world with absolutely no skills. The inability to read even a job application and then fill it out properly, right? I don't know how do you...
If this was a business, they would have shut this business down a long time ago.
Okay, so what do? You got to get up on Monday morning and go to work. I mean, just putting your head down. At this point, John, at what point do you say to yourself, I'm just taking the paycheck?
Oh, I struggle with that one. I really do. I'm passionate about what I do. I love what I do, right? And this year's been rough. It's like, man, I'm usually the one that I look at that kid and I look at that one that's got his head down and I go, I can motivate you. I can get you working. I can teach you a skill, and you're going to go out and make big bucks as soon as you graduate. And I've always prided myself on getting those kids to work. But right now I'm overloaded with those kids. That kid takes, majority of your time during the class. You don't have to worry about the ones that are working.
Right.
You got to worry about the ones that aren't working. And now when you get a big chunk of the class that's not working, not wanting to learn, not wanting to participate, that takes a lot of your energy and it just burns you out.
Yeah.
My fatigue is pretty limited. I used to stay after school every day and, because the kids wanted to stay here, work and learn and build stuff. And now I'm just like, I don't even want to stay after, you get that small percentage, the good kids that stay after school that still want to learn to make up the stuff they couldn't learn in class because of the kids that were distracting me from teaching them new skills.
So it seems like you're at a professional and personal crossroads, John, because you say to yourself, okay, do I just give up on the ones that I can't motivate and take care of the ones that are motivated, right? But that little voice inside you says, listen, I didn't choose to be a teacher because I knew it was easy. I chose to be a teacher because I believe in the skill of leading somebody to knowledge that I have. And then you look at that kid with their head down. It's like a coach. I'm gonna coach him up, right? I don't
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to now at this point go, okay, as assimilation of behavior in that classroom, as more and more heads go down and more kids realize the easy way out is simply by taking this 1 hour bullcrap class that's set up, then you start to lose a greater percentage. And then at some point, John, you come into class and you go, well, I see I got 60% of the kids with their heads on the table. I'm done.
Yeah. I see that with a lot of my coworkers. Right? Some of them are just retiring early. They're just throwing it in and go, it's not worth the energy. Or some of them are just, it's a paycheck. Like you said earlier, it's a paycheck, pays the same. And I'll be the first one to say, I'm paid really well for what I do. Right?
Yeah.
I make good money. Right? I feel like I deserve it to the taxpayers and to these kids that I earn every dollar that I make. And that's why I stick it out. Right?
Yeah. You could make more money out into the private sector. You could be, I don't know, whatever your skill is, you could be out there pulling in a big, easy six figures. But of course you wouldn't. I guess I've always heard the three things teachers love the most: June, July, and August.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Uh-huh. What do you say about that?
I've heard. They don't work summer school, do they?
Oh. Oh. I was in summer school. All right, so what if Chris Rakedahl ever wants to man up and come on? What's the question I said? What's the name of the test these kids get to take if they fail everything else?
Ingenuity.
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 And ingenuity is still going on, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Ingenuity.
Rumors are the kids were talking about it today, and I haven't looked into it, but it's looking like it might actually be over. But I'm hoping it is. Because if kids... If that's the case, maybe we can these kids won't see the easy road out. They'll have to start changing. I'm an advocate of, I'd love that if a kid misses 5 days of class, that they don't earn credit for the course.
Right, because when I was talking on the radio yesterday about truancy, that's the thing that perked your ears up. And the truancy is 15 missed classes in a year. I think it's seven. I forget, 7 a month or something like that. You're considered truant. They increase the numbers, but still we're number 9 in the United States as far as truancy numbers, and those numbers continue to climb. The break that happened between kids when they locked down the schools inadvisedly in the state of Washington, we were one of the last, second to last, I think, states to come back and open schools back up again. You break that connection between school and the kid, and then it's hard to sort of get it going again. So I'll look up to see whether the ingenuity classes are still going on. And John, do me a favor. When you feel like quitting, Joe's going to give you my phone number.
Never.
Never?
Good. Never.
All right. Good. We need about...
like going into radio. Outdoor line. That's more my style.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm going to give you my number, and I'd love to chat with you again sometime. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Will do.
All right. Thank you, my friend. All right. There he goes.
Okay.
All righty. We should look it up. Ingenuity credits.
Ingenuity credits.
Yes. Wow. See that? You text Joe. Next thing you know, you're telling me the story. Filling in the blanks. All right. Here's Nate, the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. Nathan.
All right, John. Everett to Seattle already an hour and 10-minute commute, 55 minutes just from Linwood due to our long-term collision, South 5 at 85th. So your right lane is blocked. The on-ramp is also partially blocked, causing an early merge down there. And traffic is just a mess, man. You're backed up to 185th and Shoreline to the scene. If you can take 405 instead of I-5, you're in great shape because Everett to Bellevue is only 35 minutes. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett, both 55-minute commutes. Our lake bridges are wide open. Bellevue to South Center, 35 minutes. You've got heavy volume starting at 520, and this doesn't let up till you get down about Northeast 44th near the VMAC. Northbound 405, scattered backups from the Renton S-curves up to the VMAC. And Tacoma to Olympia is at 45 minutes. A little crowding through South Tacoma, and then already a 3-mile thick backup through JBLM starting near Berkeley. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
All right, I kept hearing these commercials on KIRO Radio. It says if you don't want to wear glasses anymore, you don't want to wear contacts, you're over the age of 50, concerned about cataracts, you've got to find out about RLE. I was like, okay, I'm going to find out about it. So there's this place called K2 Vision RLE. I sit down with this Dr. Kopstein. Nice guy. We talk about golf and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then I ask him, hey, how many of these RLE things have you done? He's like, I don't know, 100,000? I was like, ooh, gosh, good. I'm in good hands. He said, no, listen, here's the deal. I'm not going to do this procedure on you unless it's going to have great results. I might tell you to come back in 5, 10, or 15, or 20 years. But let's take a look. He looks in my eyes. He goes, you know what, a little cataract in your right eye. We can take care of that. And this is going to work for you. This is going to be great for you. So I find out that other places that do something like RLE, they just do it on just about everybody. But Kopstein's like, nope, we want it to have great results. And man, those results are great. I go back in a couple days later because there's 5 minutes on one eye, 5 on the other. I got 20/20 vision. You want to find out more about this? You don't want to wear glasses, no readers, no contacts. Check out a Zoom consultation. You can do it at k2visionrle.com. That's a Zoom consultation at k2visionrle.com.
You listen to Charlie and Manda on Seattle's Morning News every morning. What do they listen to every afternoon?
I listen to John all the time when I'm driving home, driving my kids around.
I also listen to the John Curley Show, and even by the end of the day, I still like to keep my brain active, and he's very good at doing that.
John, first of all, is hilarious. I never know where this dude is coming from.
The perfect bookends to your daily commute with KIRO News Radio on 97.3 FM and the KIRO News Radio app.
At Les Schwab, we've been changing the tire game for more than 70 years. Our Go the Extra Mile service means more hustle, less hassle. We design our own exclusive tires to give you more tires made for the road you drive, less compromise. All backed by America's best tire warranty included with every tire we sell. We're talking more unbeatable tire warranty, less charging you extra, like the other guys. It's why you get more from less. Book an appointment at leschwab.com.
Cold is leaking and rats are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
Protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive so you can stop worrying about them and invent new things to worry about, like snakes in your bedroom. Sure, that sounds incredibly irrational, but now that we've mentioned it, you are a little worried. The odds of one snake, let alone snakes plural, are so slim. But you might want to check. Oh, you're not near your bedroom. Guess you'll just have to sit there and worry about it. So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant. Ugh, I can't. Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant. How much more? Secret is the GOAT. Because nothing fights sweat better.
Stay fresher under pressure. Living with multiple broken or missing teeth? Think you can't afford dental implants? I'm Holly, part of the care team with South Seattle Smiles. I'm here to tell you, you have options. We help patients use their medical insurance to pay for life-changing dental implant treatment. You may qualify to receive a total full mouth reconstruction for a fraction of the cost. We work with many employer-based medical insurances and are in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO. Don't let navigating medical insurance stop you from a life-changing opportunity. I'll help maximize the plan you have. If you're ready to transform your smile, call me right now at 206-241-5533. You'll speak with me or one of our team. Take the first steps and call 206-241-5533 or find us at southseattlesmiles.com. That is southseattlesmiles.com. Your insurance company will hate it. Your family will love it.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6580. That's 800-583-6580.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Dozens of deputies and federal agents have converged on the mountain south of Leavenworth today. This is where search teams believe they may find Travis Decker, the father accused of kidnapping and murdering his 3 daughters. KIRO 7 TV's Brooke Griffin shares what it feels like on the ground there.
We're all a little anxious. In these kind of situations, these guys are highly trained. But if we're feeling the anxiety, these guys probably are too.
Chelan County Sheriff's Office is now telling residents in the Ingalls Creek area to lock their doors and call 911 if they see anything suspicious. A ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee says President Trump has gone too far in deploying troops to Los Angeles. Washington Representative Adam Smith, the Democrat, tells CNN the presence of National Guard members inflamed an already tense situation.
It looked to me like the LAPD was responding forcefully, quickly, and aggressively. If the situation reached the point where it got out of control, well, then we can have a conversation.
President Trump says he is not worried about the situation getting out of hand there.
Look, it's common sense. You ask me that question. When there's no danger, they'll leave.
Today, California's governor asked a federal court to block the president from using the Guard and Marines to assist with immigration raids. A Pasco High School graduate grabbed the microphone and said this at a commencement ceremony on Saturday.
This is America. Should have started with English.
Tri-City Herald reports the comment came after the principal gave their welcome speech in Spanish before giving it in English. Student and his family are expected to meet with administrators this week. No word yet if that student will be disciplined. Boeing enjoyed its strongest month of aircraft deliveries in nearly a year and a half. CBS's Jason Brooks has those numbers.
Boeing says it booked 303 orders in May, including 130 787 Dreamliners by Qatar Airways, the biggest wide-body order in Boeing's history. That's helping Boeing stay in front of European rival Airbus for the 2025 order crown, with Boeing picking up orders for 512 aircraft so far this year, compared to 215 orders for Airbus.
Let's go now to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. It's 3:32. Here's Nate Connors.
All right, this report brought to you by Washington 811. We just opened up another lane, South 5, at our crash scene coming out of Northgate, and already Everett to Seattle has improved a bit to 55 minutes, 45 minutes from Linwood. South 5 at 85th, the on-ramp is still partially blocked, causing an early merge, and then traffic is just a mess. You're backed up from 175th and Shoreline, and this continues past our crash scene into downtown Seattle. Everett to Bellevue remains a great option, though it has gone up a bit, but it's still at 45 minutes. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett, 55 minutes. Bellevue to South Center is a 35-minute drive with your typical backup starting at 520 into Renton. Seattle to Federal Way looking pretty good, about 40 minutes, and it's 45 minutes between Tacoma and Olympia. Your biggest holdup is about a 3 to 4 mile backup through JBLM. If you're digging in your yard, the law requires you to call 811 to avoid dangerous and costly damages to utility lines. Call 811 or submit online at digsafewad.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Thank you, Nate. Your forecast now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. We're cleared tonight and looking nice for the rest of the week. We'll see temperatures in the mid-70s tomorrow. Right now we're at 78 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granello, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Home Comfort Alliance, when it comes to heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric, there's only one place to call. The Comfort people, my friends there. I do know them personally as they came out to the barn. Big heat pump, mini splits. Comfortable because of them. HomeComfortAlliance.com. All right, here we go with the John Curley Show. Those of you watching on YouTube, hey, everybody.
Oh, wow.
How you doing? Yeah.
You can't do that.
Waving to him? Why can't I? I'm just waving to him. Hey, everybody. Hey, how are you doing there? 1-888-973-5476. 1-888-973-5476. Text it. Come on in and be a big part of the show. Let's see. So we're following where right now is sort of heats up, cools down. A bunch of people have got the federal building blocked. They're throwing bicycles and other stuff in front of the exits. And when the federal ICE employees come out, then everybody goes, woo-ah! They get all upset, and then they go back in and go, woo-ah! They go back in. Okay. No traffic problems because of it is right now?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
No.
Nice.
That's a no. Okay.
On the money, Nate.
All right. We'll continue to check in with Mr. Lynch as things develop out there. All right. Let's do a little bit of this day in history, Joe, if you would be so kind as to play the music. 1692, first Salem witch hanging. Oh, boy. In 1752, Ben Franklin flies that kite, discovers in a thunderstorm, electricity. He's got a, do you really have a key attached to it?
That's what I was told in school.
Skipping that one.
All right.
Let's see. John Adams proposes the Continental Army, the 1775. Judy Garland's born in 1922. 1935, Alcohol Anonymous is founded. I think that guy was...
Bill Wallace, is that it?
Yeah, Wallace. Yeah, a friend of Bill, right?
Something like that.
And he was from Dorset, Vermont. Let's see. The 6-Day War ends in 1967. In 2007, the last episode of Sopranos airs. Oof. Guess what I'm going to choose? Guess what? Andrew, which one? Of all that, you weren't even listening. You don't even know.
AA one seems interesting.
It does, doesn't it? Not too bad. I'm going First Salem witch hanging. Oof. And the reason I like this one is because, unfortunately, they were mostly women, young girls. A couple of guys were witches as well. They're like, how can I be a witch? I'm a guy. So they got off as well. But the others, didn't work out well for them. But it changed how you have rights in court today because of what happened back then in, 1692 in the first one. In fact, it was Arthur Miller with The Crucible, the play The Crucible, which was basically he was taking sort of the Salem witch hunt and then talking about McCarthy and the McCarthy trials, right? You know, guilty are you now, or have you ever been a member of, you know, the Communist Party? A lot of hearsay and stuff.
The devil is alive in Salem, and we dare not quail to follow where the accusing finger points.
Yeah.
The whole country's talking witchcraft. They'll be calling us witches, Abby.
I will cut off my hand before I reach for you again.
She has an arrow in you yet, John Proctor, and you know it well.
Oh, yeah.
She thinks to kill me and then to take my place.
You sold yourself to Lucifer.
I never sold myself. I'm a good girl. I am a proper girl.
Where did you find this power?
I have no power. I have no power. Stop it.
I saw Goody Proctor fly. The whole thing was people would all of a sudden just sign, I'm going to rat her out or do something. So they did this. Here's what happened. First of all, this is what it was like at the trial. A lot of hearsay. Oh, I saw him do that. Okay. There was no cross-examining. So you get the person up there and you weren't allowed to have an attorney present. Plus, you were guilty before they were able to prove you innocent. And here is how they found out whether you were innocent. So I would accuse somebody of, you know, Goody Proctor, she's a witch. So what they would do is they would say, okay, quick, take her to the other room. And they'd bind her all up, and then they'd throw her in the water. Now, if she floated, she was a witch. If she sunk, then she was innocent. Well, then she would drown and die. So it was like you kind of, once they got you to the water, it was pretty much over for you. Because, again, if you floated, it's because the water rejected you because Satan was in you. So then they would just cut off your head. So as they're wrapping you up and taking you to the water for the test, that was pretty much the end of it. So after that, about 100 years later, they started to realize this is not fair in these courts. So they got rid of, you were innocent until proven guilty. You were able to have an attorney present to cross-examine. Hearsay was thrown out as well. Because all of those ideas were not in like the Magna Carta. They weren't involved at all in the establishment of law in the United States in the early years. And then 100 years later, we were able to get a whole bunch of things to be able to have real trials for real people that would not come in with hearsay. And you'd have somebody be able to cross-examine on this sort of stuff. And then when it came to the Constitution, even after the Constitution was written, a lot of Federalists were like, whoa, how about a Bill of Rights? You want additional rights and protection for individuals. And then it really began to create a much better structure for somebody that would be going to court. So as difficult it was for those women that were wrapped up in ropes and then thrown into the water, the rest of us have all benefited because of it. So back in 1692, when the first Salem witch trial occurred, and then now here we are today where you get a chance to have the jury's going to be there. There's no hearsay is allowed to be presented, and you are innocent until proven guilty. And in England, it's interesting. They don't use proven. They don't use guilty or not guilty. They use proven or not proven. You may be guilty, but were they able to prove that you're guilty? It's not guilty or not guilty. It's proven or not proven. So sort of been a little interesting little thing, how far we've come. And the influence of American legal system today because of that. Yeah.
And I heard recently a whole podcast on the Salem witch trial.
Oh, did you?
And it started with these two girls that were just screwing around. They were playing some game that was like considered kind of, it was like, it'd be like the equivalent of playing with a Ouija board.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
just screwing around.
Yeah.
And the nanny, one of their nannies who was a slave woman, saw them doing it. And then one of the girls got sick a couple days later. And she said, oh, it must have been this little game they were playing.
Right.
And then it just became accusations everywhere. And they would seize your property. If you were convicted of being a witch, the town immediately seized your property. So everybody started accusing everybody of being a witch just so they could, seize all of their land and all their assets.
There was such a fear of the devil. It was called, I think, the Lucifer Act, which was basically we need to educate every single child. They all have to learn. This is the beginning of public schools in the United States. And the Lucifer Act was because if we could teach them to read, they could read the Bible, and then the devil wouldn't have an influence on them. I mean, think about it. The people left England, they were a religious sect, and they came to the United States to be able to practice their religion. They came in with all of that sort of stuff. So they were always looking for it. And they were just goofing around, and then one person accused another person. Next thing you know, then I saw Goody Proctor fly, and then people were like, well, or people people would goof around. Girls would just sort of goof around and act like they were twitching and
in
stuff.
the court. And then if they did that while you were on the stand, you're guilty.
Well, I mean, the fear that suddenly all these witches would be out there and then the devil would come and then it would destroy their little civilizations, their little city-states or whatever they had established. Yeah. They had to keep the devil out of it. So they were just throwing gals into the water all the time. Yeah. And can you imagine that? Okay, so if you float, you're guilty. If you sink, you're innocent.
It's probably drowned.
And then drown. Because they would throw them in and the person would sink and they'd be like, well, hold on, let's not jump to conclusions here. She might come to the surface. Yeah. I'm like, I think she's innocent. They pull them up and they're dead.
They also did a couple things and they would like stack giant rocks on you.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And press you.
Yeah, and then somehow, like, if you didn't die or you...
if you didn't die, then you were guilty and then they'd cut your head off. Right. They kept pressing you. They kept more and more rocks on top of you.
And if you died, oh, good. Well, you're innocent, but you're also dead.
There we go. That's that, everybody. There's your day in history right there. Wow. Huh? Everybody learned something?
Yes.
All right. If not, you could take what is it called? Ingenuity credits.
Yes.
All right. How many people here are kind of hoping that there's some sort of skirmish down there at the federal courthouse?
As long as we have a live camera.
Not me.
Stream
Nate,
of
no.
it.
Nope. Andrew, no.
Well, I hope it happens while I'm not here.
There we go. That's there's somebody really.
It's a newsman.
You get a big rock to press on top of.
When are you not here?
He just wants to get out of here before it all happens. All right, here's Nate, the big incoming traffic does Nate on.
All right, Northgate South 5 at 85th. The collision still partially blocks your on-ramp, causing an early merge there. At its worst, this had 2 lanes blocked, and that's what's added to this bumper-to-bumper backup starting way back at 175th and Shoreline, and it remains solid all the way to I-90. Everett to Seattle, an hour and 10 minutes, 1 hour just from Linwood. Southbound 99 remains a great option, saving you tons of time. There is a thick backup forming now between Northgate and Green Lake. Seattle to Everett just hit 1 hour. You're slow from Mercer through North Linwood. Bellevue to Everett is up to an hour 5 minutes. Scattered backup starting in Northeast 8th and Bellevue all the way to that Alderwood interchange. Crossing the lake from Bellevue to Seattle looking pretty good. Less than 20 minutes on both I-90 and 520. And on the Valley Freeway, Renton to Puyallup pushing 50 minutes. And that's kind of the story outside of our collision coming out of Northgate. Pretty typical backups this afternoon. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Oh, boy. You know, Home Comfort Alliance put a heat pump, and it's really saved us a lot when it comes to our energy bill every single month. And the big barn is nice and cool in the summer, perfect temperatures in the winter. And they came out because we had to buy this little tiny house because my wife calls it a trailer. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. And we needed to cool that thing because we stay there when we got a wedding. So they come out and I said, okay, how can we keep this thing cool? They said mini split. And the great thing about a mini split is it's going to be able to cool this spot. Plus, we don't have to put any ductwork in. That's going to save you a ton of money. And it's really easy to use. It's going to save you lots and lots of money. So put it in. Have you ever heard of a mini split? You've probably seen them before. They're great. So you can have one room that can be like 68 degrees. Maybe somebody else likes to be at 62. Somebody else at 78. Doesn't matter. You can set up various temperature zones with your mini splits that are in the room, and you save electricity, and you save even more with the fact that Home Comfort Alliance has got these mini splits for you right now, and you can get them with offering 18 months same as cash financing for qualified systems with no interest for 18 months. This is a great way to go, and especially since Home Comfort Alliance is doing the work, you know they're going to do it right the first time. That's HomeComfortAlliance.com. HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Do you have multiple broken or missing teeth? Think you can't afford dental implants? I'm Holly, part of the care team at South Seattle Smiles, a unique dental implant practice focused on helping patients use their medical insurance to help pay for life-altering dental implant treatment. You may qualify to receive total full mouth restoration for a fraction of the cost. We work with many employer-based medical insurances and are in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO. Your insurance company will never volunteer to help. I guide you through the medical insurance bureaucracy. I do it every day, and I'm really good at it. If you have employer-based medical insurance and you're ready to change your life, call me right now at 206-241-5533. You'll speak with me or one of our team members. Your insurance company will hate it. Your family will love it. Step up and call now at 206-241-5533 or find us at southseattlesmiles.com. Again, that's southseattlesmiles.com.
Hey, it's Lori from Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation with exciting news.
We now offer the exclusive K-Guard gutter system. Say goodbye to clogged gutters and hello to less maintenance. Call today or visit us online at guardianroofing.com.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
The 20% small business tax deduction has helped small businesses grow, hire, and invest. But unless Congress acts, the deduction will end this year, and Washington's small businesses will be hit with a massive tax hike. Representative Dan Newhouse just voted to protect over 33 million small businesses from this massive tax hike. Visit smallbusinessdeduction.com and thank him for supporting Washington's small businesses. Paid for by the National Federation of Independent Business.
Got pickleball game? Play with Seattle football legends in the Champions of Change pickleball tournament on June 28th, benefiting high school athletes. Register at championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball or donate at your local Safeway.
Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit MuckleshootCasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot.
All right, here we are with the John Curley Show. Thank you. There's everybody on YouTube. Hi, everybody over there. Let's see, White House, marching orders, talking about the... we're going helicopter already?
Sorry, that was a little premature.
I had a friend of mine, he has a helicopter, he needed a place to land it. They were trying to land it at Suncadia yesterday. He lands it at Suncadia, and then the neighbor's like, hey, you can't land a helicopter over here? You got HOA rules. I didn't know you can't land a helicopter there. So he's like, so he calls Nick, hey, can I land the helicopter? Can I helicopter over there where you got your house? So Nick's like, yeah, sure. So this is very exciting. This beautiful blue helicopter comes circling around. I guess he looks a couple of times to make sure to see where he's going to land the thing. Comes spinning around there, comes down in there. It's like, ooh, this is really cool. So he lands the helicopter coming in on the barn. Comes all in. Got a nice big open space. Our friend Jenny is in there. She's in the passenger seat. Holly comes in, nice touchdown, right there, and I land there in the barn, right there in the front 40. Not near the pumpkins. What
are they doing in the helicopter?
They needed a place to land, and they couldn't land at Suncadia, so they land there at the barn.
Nick.
There's Nick getting a picture of.
Seen a helicopter before?
She's all excited. Whoa, a helicopter, right?
Yeah,
Then our friend Jenny runs out of the helicopter and runs over to the pond. And I'm thinking, well, she must go see the fish or something like that. She gets down on the ground. I think, wow, she's really interested in the water as she vomits into the lake, into the little lake.
Because of the helicopter?
Because of the helicopter, right.
But what?
Apparently, it's pretty windy, and you kind of move around a lot and stuff is a little too much for her. So, a lot of questions. What's wrong?
Yeah. So, what were they doing in the helicopter?
They needed a place to land.
Yeah. Okay. But why were they in the air in the first place?
Because today, a bunch of realtors from the west side are going over to the east side to take a tour of Tumble Creek and Suncadia. And they're like, hey, real estate agents or whatever you're considered, you want to fly around and see all the properties that are available? Get in the helicopter. It's kind of like a little, hey, and we also have, pastries or whatever it is that people show up for. So they get a tour in a helicopter. So when the helicopter tried to land at Suncadia, some neighbors complained.
Right,
So then they landed it here. And then at that point, the pilot and Jenny are like, hey, can you give us a ride to Suncadia? So then Nick had to give them a ride, 6 miles up the road to Suncadia.
And they just left it there for the night?
Oh, which was so cool. Because then Nick and I are out there walking around last night, and the sun is coming down. It's a beautiful shot of the helicopter. And people are driving by slowly like, whoa, look at Curly. He's got a helicopter.
Yeah, really.
And I said to Nick, it makes you think, should we get a helicopter? Because it looks so great.
Yes.
So I immediately look online, what's a helicopter cost and how long does it take to get helicopter lessons? It's fun to look at it until you start to realize, I don't want to spend that. That was an R22, a Robertson 22. They go anywhere from $60,000 up to $350,000. You can get 2,200 hours until you have to redo the whole thing. The insurance is $790 a month. The helicopter, so you could buy it for $60,000. You got to get a certain number of hours in. My friend Sean's a helicopter pilot. And I kept thinking, wow, wouldn't that be cool to have a helicopter?
Yes. That'd be incredible.
I mean, think about it.
Well, whose was that, though?
That's our buddy that owns the helicopter.
Yeah.
Why? He said if you ever want to use it, you can use it.
Well, yes, we want to
Why
use
are you so excited about a helicopter? You're worse than Nick.
We
just want to go around in a helicopter?
Yeah. You got one in your yard?
Or just have him come back and land it.
Yeah.
All right, and then what? What are you going to do? You're going to come up to Cleveland so you can get in the helicopter and fly around?
Sure.
Okay. I feel like I'm sitting here with a 7-year-old. Who else wants to fly in the helicopter?
You do. You almost want to buy one.
Well, that's different. Here's Nate, the big public traffic.
All right, Washington 811's got the update. Took an hour and a half, and we're finally all clear. South 5 at 85th coming out of Northgate. Left with a thick backup starting at 155th and Shoreline, and that continues all the way down to I-90. Everett to Seattle right now is an hour and 10 minutes, an hour just from Linwood. Everett to Bellevue is at 50 minutes, a great option for you. You are heavy, though, through Alderwood and Canyon Park. And then again in Kirkland, starting near Northeast 70th, and that backup continues all the way down to the VMAX. Starts getting really thick through Bellevue. Bellevue to Renton, add another 35 minutes. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett are both right around 1 hour commutes. Federal Way to Tacoma is about a 20-minute drive. You're slow to Highway 18 down across the Puyallup River Bridge. And Tacoma to Olympia, you just hit the 1 hour mark. If you're digging in your yard, the law requires you to call 811 to avoid dangerous and costly damages to utility lines. Call 811 or submit online at digsafewad.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Don't you hate a disorganized closet or when the garage looks like a bomb went off in there? Let's get organized. You start to think, okay, how about some closets? Type into Google. First thing that pops up, you're like, oh, okay, I've heard of those guys. Wait, hold on a second. Do you know that there's a local business, family run, that's been there for 22 years, that tries to source all of its material right here in the Pacific Northwest? Did you know that the name is Closets by Design? It's Closets by Design. They do exactly what you need them to do. They come in, they take a look at the problem, they solve the problem. They know everything, and they're going to work with you to customize it for you. Closets by Design came out to the barn a couple of weeks ago, and they got a big plan for the garage, the master bedroom, a bunch of other stuff as well. And I love the fact that right now, Closets by Design says, hey, we're going to make it even easier for you. We're going to give you 40% off, plus an additional 15% off, and 18 months financing and free installation. It's a no-brainer. You want to get organized. You need new closets. They're even going to build a cabinet for us in the laundry room. How about this? 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's closetsbydesign.com.
Hey, it's Charlie Harder.
And I'm Amanda Factor.
And coming up on the show, we have Emmy Award-winning actor Jeremy Piven. You know him from Entourage.
An agent actually said to me one time, he goes, I'm having trouble getting you work on your hiatus because everyone's saying there's no way that's acting.
What's bringing him to Seattle later this summer?
We'll tell you. Coming up tomorrow morning on Seattle's Morning News.
Seattle's Morning News, 6 to 9. Watch the interview on the KIRO News Radio YouTube page and the KIRO News Radio app.
Do you have multiple broken or missing teeth? I'm Holly with South Seattle Smiles, a unique dental implant practice using many employer-based medical insurances to pay for life-altering dental implant treatment. Your insurance company will never volunteer to help. That's where I come in. I guide you through the medical insurance bureaucracy, and I'm really good at it. Call us now at 206-241-5533. We are in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO. That's 206-241-5533 or at southseattlesmiles.com.
Hey, it's Lori from Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation. Think insulation is only for the winter? Think again. Upgrading attic insulation is a popular and cost-effective way to make your home more energy efficient. It's your secret weapon for staying cool in the summer, slashing utility bills, and boosting your home's air quality while keeping mold at bay. Need an attic overhaul or thinking about new insulation? Look no further. Guardian has your back. Call now and save $299 off attic sealing and insulation, or visit us at guardianroofing.com.
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Doctors King and Kopstein from K2 Vision.
If you're over 50 and you've been diagnosed with a cataract, or your vision is changing as you're developing an early cataract, you could be a perfect candidate for K2 Vision RLE.
It's inevitable. At some point, typically in your 60s or 70s, you'll have a dysfunctional lens that eventually becomes a cataract. To restore your vision, you will someday need a procedure such as refractive lens exchange.
The question is, are you done with glasses? Do you want to spend your good, active years hassling with changing prescriptions and needing readers?
K2 Vision RLE can give you great vision now, permanently, and you'll never develop that cataract. The procedure is quick and painless, and our state-of-the-art custom lens technologies give highly predictable outcomes.
K2 Vision surgeons have performed nearly 100,000 procedures. We know when RLE is right for you.
Find out. Schedule a free Zoom consultation at k2visionrle.com.
K2 Vision RLE. No glasses, no contacts, no readers.
From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at amazonbusiness.com.
KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
President on fifth day of LA protests.
We will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again.
Calm among demonstrators.
They were telling each other, hey, this is a peaceful protest.
To keep more troops out of LA.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has filed an emergency request.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. In a small pocket of downtown Los Angeles near a federal building, a crowd forms for another immigration protest. CBS's Elise Preston is there.
This was probably the calmest crowd I've seen over the last several days. They were actually policing themselves. Now, some people were shouting obscenities at some of the National Guardsmen out front, but this was a largely peaceful crowd.
California's governor turns to the court system to block President Trump from sending in any more military members to L.A. CBS's Matt Piper.
He says the motion is in response to a change in orders from the Guard, which was originally brought in to protect federal buildings and personnel. Now, the Pentagon says it plans to hold secure perimeters around areas where raids are taking place and securing streets for immigration agents.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. The governor of California and the mayor of Los Angeles say the president overstepped, but Trump disagrees.
We will not be deterred.
Speaking to troops at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the president said he did what he had to do.
We will use every asset at our disposal to quell the violence and restore law and order right away. We're not going to wait 7 days and 8 days and wait for a governor that's never going to call and watch cities burn.
California's governor says the president's actions are inflaming the situation.
Also in California, Service Employees International Union President David Huerta is charged with conspiracy to impede an officer, a felony. Prosecutors allege Huerta organized protesters to block access to a metal gate through which immigration agents needed to pass and intimidated agents by banging his hand on that gate. While at Fort Bragg to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the creation of the U.S. Army, President Trump reveals the administration will be restoring the names of bases including Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, and Fort Robert E. Lee. This had already been done at Fort Bragg. They got around a rule that said bases could not be named for Confederate soldiers by naming it after a different Bragg. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s shakeup of a vaccine advisory panel means if some vaccines are no longer recommended by the panel and CDC, it may affect your insurance. CBS's Alexander Tin.
Not only are people going to have to pay potentially out of pocket for those vaccines if recommendations change, but a lot of hospitals, doctors' offices, and pharmacies will stop stocking those vaccines altogether if they're not covered by health insurance.
Now this.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Coming up, a growing protest outside the federal building in downtown Seattle. That's coming up after Nate Connors at the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk.
Thanks, Aaron. Seattle Sports has the update. Everett to Seattle is struggling this afternoon. It's going to take an hour and 10 minutes, 1 hour just from Linwood, with a thick backup from 155th and Shoreline all the way down to I-90 as we slowly recover from an earlier crash near 85th. Everett to Bellevue is down a bit, down to 45 minutes. You still got heavy volumes through Alderwood, and you'll slowly thin out as you make your way through Canyon Park. And then another backup starts near Northeast 70th in Kirkland. Once you hit 520 in Bellevue, this really thickens up all the way down to the VMAC. Bellevue to South Center is at 35 minutes, with another minor backup forming in South Center as you approach I-5. Seattle to Everett hovering at 1 hour. You're slow from Mercer through North Linwood. Bellevue to Everett has gone up to an hour and 15 minutes because we've got this new crash in Bellevue, North 405, just past 520, taking up 2 right lanes. Seattle to Federal Way, 45 minutes, and it's 1 hour from Tacoma down to Olympia. Download the Seattle Sports app to stay in the know with the latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite teams. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granello. Anti-ICE protesters have now arrived at the federal building in downtown Seattle. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch is monitoring, and he joins us live. James.
Yeah, Aaron, just in the last couple of minutes, we've seen one of the Sally Port doors open up, indicating, at least in my mind, that someone is trying to exit there in a vehicle. These protesters have blocked this whole Sally Port now, so if anybody is trying to get out, they will be unable to do so without driving through the crowd there. So they're beating on their drums, they're yelling now. Those that were on the other side of the courthouse of the federal building have now come around to the north side where this Sally Port is, and it appears that they are blocking a vehicle from leaving. Other than that, this has been a pretty quiet protest for much of the day. The vast majority of people here seem to be well-intentioned protesters, but we do have those guys dressed in black, those guys dressed in helmets and carrying gas masks in case there is any trouble. So far, there is none. We will be here. If anything changes, we will let you know. Reporting live in downtown Seattle, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
The search for Travis Decker is ramping up in the mountains prison south of Leavenworth. KIRO 7 TV's Brooke Griffin is there as search teams now believe they have narrowed in on that former Army Ranger who's accused of killing his 3 daughters.
Now, the King County chief says this group is highly trained and ready for this kind of search. They packed up ATVs, chainsaws, lots of food and water, rifles, and tactical gear, including shields.
Chelan County Sheriff's Office is telling residents in the Ingalls Creek area to lock their doors. Seattle police say 2 women died after a fatal collision outside a retirement community in Seattle's First Hill neighborhood. Detective Brian Pritchard says a shuttle bus accidentally rammed into a smoking shelter.
Officers arrived and found a van had struck a smoke shack, a designated smoke area, with 2 elderly females in it. As it stands right now, we believe it's just a tragic accident.
A 3rd woman escaped. Their ages were not released, but Pritchard says they were elderly. The driver of the bus was not arrested. No signs of impairment there. At least 2 structures went up in flames when a wildfire broke out near Cle Elum. Dozens of homes still evacuated as crews worked to contain the Red Bridge fire. This man tells KIRO 7 TV he saw it spread.
As it was leapfrogging, then you would see the trees catch on fire and see them crown up, and then it would jump again some more.
About 150 personnel are working that fire. Crews say it is still smoldering in about 50 acres. Weather now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors for staying dry for the rest of this week. We'll see temperatures in the mid-70s tomorrow, back into the 60s by Thursday. Right now, 79 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
We'll do it live.
Really?
I'll write it and we'll do it live.
How about we just tape it?
He's so upset.
Imagine working for that guy. I know somebody who worked for Bill O'Reilly when he was in Portland.
Really?
Yeah, funny story about that. Should I do it right now?
Yes.
Real quick. So my friend Blake Hurley is the floor manager. So there's 3 cameras, and the floor manager gets underneath the camera and points to which camera you're going to. So if you're the anchor, you're reading on camera 1. They'll count you down. They'll say 5, 4, 3, and until you hit the VO or the SOT, sound on tape. And then sometimes they'll show you 1 minute, and then they give you the sign, which is the C sign for 30, and then the 15, right? So it's like Hurley's, I think, 2nd day on the job. And they go to the commercial break, and Bill O'Reilly goes, I don't need that, and I don't need that. You don't need to give me this, and I don't need this. I just need 5, 4, 3, 2. That's all I need. And the rest of it is all crap. Blake's like, okay, Mr. Riley. Fills his pants. I don't need that. I don't need that. Don't show me 30. Don't show me 15.
I remember I started when we started working together. I did something. I made the fatal error of trying to write a script for you once.
Oh my God, I can't read.
He said, what is this? Who? Wait, what does this mean? Who wrote this? Are you trying to box me in? Are you boxing me in?
I did not. Yes. I do it live. I said you're trying to box me in?
I said you're boxing me in. You're boxing me in.
Well, that's true. Aaron, I don't want to be boxed in. I can't be boxed in. I'm a wild animal.
I learned. I never boxed you in again.
Yeah, thank you. How are the protests / demonstrations / riots in Seattle? You went to Lynch. Everything all right down there so far?
You just heard him. He said it's mostly peaceful right now. They're banging on drums and they have some signs.
Okay. And they
it looks like they're blocking some sort of entryway, exit way, I guess, out of the federal building in downtown. There was some video that was surfacing earlier from some independent journalists there. Yeah.
They're lining up all the bikes.
Department of Homeland Security officers there.
Okay.
What we've been told is that there are a few immigrants that have been detained there or had hearings there, and they're expected to be transported somewhere else to wherever the actual ICE detention facility is.
I see.
And these folks don't want to allow that to happen, so they're blocking the garage doors with line bikes and anything else they can.
So they're stopping federal employees from doing their job.
Correct.
And
okay. In so many words.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So they're breaking the law.
Well, if you watch right here, and they're throwing water at these guys, and they didn't seem to do anything about it other than just kind of move the scooters out of the way and go back inside.
Right.
So every once in a while, they'll come out, clear the garages, and these guys will make a fuss and scream at them, and then they go back inside.
Yeah. Rance has a story today, I think it's mynorthwest.com, that normally ICE will sort of let the media know where they're going to go, who they're arresting and stuff like that. And it's supposed to kind of be on the down low. Somebody in one of these organizations, that gets the information, leaks it to the media, and then it goes from the media out to a bunch of these valedictorians that are walking around with the umbrellas and the masks on and stuff like that, and stuff to throw at police officers. So now the ICE is no longer they're kind of keeping it on the down low, who they have and what they plan on doing with them, deporting them and stuff. So these people are showing up to protest. They don't know who they have. I'm assuming the valedictorians with the masks on, all dressed in black, throwing stuff at the men and women of law enforcement. They don't know if they have them. Who it is. It could be, a serial rapist, could be a murderer, right. Somebody accused of or somebody who's actually committed a crime, served time, and now they're being deported. So they're in there defending some of these folks that have been rounded up. Would be kind of fun if I were just king of the world for a moment. The first thing I would do is I'd tell Joe, don't write scripts for me. And then I would say, all right, hey, protesters, valedictorians, all of you, brilliant individuals that should probably go out and get a job. You bring them out there, you say, we've got one of the guys you're fighting for. Who wants to adopt him? He's going to live in your house for 1 month. Who wants him? Because you obviously don't want him deported, right? You don't want him out of here, and you're stopping us. So it would have like a whole lineup of these guys, and every single one of those people could say, oh, I'll take him. I'll let him come live with me. And then you could read the charges, and you'd be like, well, let's see. What do we got him for? Sexual penetration with a foreign object, force of assault, intent to commit rape, and burglary. Who wants him? Any takers? I'm reading the list. These are the people that, this is not the sale. This is in L.A. I got another guy here. Who wants to adopt this guy? Discharging a firearm in a vehicle, driving under the influence, willful cruelty to a child and an animal. Who wants him? He's also armed. Anybody? Because you're stopping us from deporting him, so I assume you care about these people. Which one? We got another guy in here. Assault with a deadly weapon, great bodily injury, leaving the scene of a crime, hit and run, ran over 2 children. Who wants him? Want to save him? Because these are the people we have, and you don't want us to deport them. So what you're saying is we want them in our community. We want to keep them here so that we're going to pile up a bunch of bikes. We got some others that are lined up. If anybody else would like one of these guys, here's a guy, distribution of heroin and cocaine, domestic violence. Girlfriend ended up in the hospital for 6 weeks. Want him? You want him living in your house? You want him in your community? You want him down the street? Because again, you're willing to stop him from being deported. So why not adopt an illegal alien? That should be the program. And have those guys come on out and explain who you've got in there, and then get one of those young folks that seem to be very concerned about the COVID virus because they're all wearing their masks. Not all of them, but a lot of them have their masks on. That'd be good. Let's see them do that. And the same thing with the protesters that are down there in L.A. There's 2 pieces. I saw one in the Wall Street Journal today. Stephen Miller, who we have, if we were to cast a movie, he would, of course, be the guy. We'd ask him, Mr. Miller, in this scene, can you do a slight German accent? Would really help sell the scene. Mm-hmm. So Miller goes into the folks that are running the whole ICE program, and he's like, hey, we need to start getting those numbers up. Let's get those numbers up. We promise, Trump promised we're going to deport. We got to get the numbers up. According to the Wall Street Journal, he's like, how many people here want to get those numbers up? So a bunch of ICE guys like, yeah, we're going to get the numbers up. He goes, look, go to Home Depot. They get them hanging out there. Go get those guys. Go to 7-Eleven. Go get them. We want people here in this country that illegally go get them. They broke the law. Get them out of here, right? So they're working on trying to get the ones that I've been reading about, some of those fine gentlemen right there. They got all those guys in L.A. So you got Stephen Miller, cracking the whip, telling ICE to go get some of these other people. Well, what happened was another group of ICE people were going in L.A. One of them was over near the Home Depot, but the other one that started all of the riots, they went in there and swept up a whole bunch of drug dealers from a particular Mexican cartel. Then you had the president of the union there, the SEIU. He goes in there and assaults and disrupts the progress and the actions of the federal employees, they being ICE. So they arrest the guy. And the reason you have all of these politicians coming out and trying to make this guy a martyr, the president of the union, is because this guy has all the power. You don't get elected in L.A., or good luck trying to get elected, if you don't get the support of the SEIU. And that guy says, this is the person we're giving your money to. This is the person we're not. And that man holds the keys to a whole bunch of politicians' career. So when he got caught, and obviously he loved this, he gets arrested. He goes into jail for a couple of days. Then you hear a bunch of people, even in Seattle, demanding that he be released. Yeah, because, listen, they're told to demand this. He goes in to do this. It just shows more and more of his power because it's the union and the politicians together in that same bed, rolling around on top of each other, getting the money that they need from the union. So that guy, that's the guy that everybody was all upset about. So there you go. So that's sort of the behind the scenes. Always follow the money on all of this sort of stuff. Why these protesters are down there in front of the courthouse in Seattle, I guess, what do they expect to do, right? If you were the ICE guys, you get one of those ICE trucks, get them in that truck, and just roll over all of those bicycles and just head on out the door and take these people where they're supposed to go and then put them on a plane and fly them out of here. They had no trouble coming into the country, and we should just be able to go get them. By the way, the Supreme Court has given Donald Trump the permission to round up the 340,000 Venezuelans that got an early entrance into the U.S. And they also said, yeah, you also legally can go get the 400,000. You don't have to have them stand trial. Because here's what happened. If you came through one of the legal ports and you said, I'm claiming asylum, they would then say to you, okay, here you go. You're now registered. We want you to come back. We'll contact you. Well, it would take like 5-6 years till finally that person could go before a judge. You had two choices. The Biden administration said, well, we don't clog up the court system, so we'll just let you all in, and then I guess they would go get them later on. Well, all those people came pouring in the other entrance, and they didn't go through the process to be able to stand before a judge. So Trump's people said, hey, listen, all of these 400,000 didn't go through the process, didn't claim asylum, haven't gotten their file open. They're not waiting to hear from a judge as to whether or not they can be granted admission to the United States. Can we go get them? And the Supreme Court said, bing, go get them. So that's what's happening. Now, the fact that Stephen Miller could play a character in a World War II movie. What? You all right there? Was that sandwich I bought you for lunch?
Yeah, it's just
coming back on you?
Stephen Miller has that effect on me.
Okay, but we're going to judge you. He is the fist. He's the power dude. You don't like him?
No, I do not.
You want him to be a little softer?
You really want my opinion?
No.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Well, yes, I do. I think they shut down the border. That's what so nobody's coming.
That's why he got elected.
Trump, right? Not Stephen Miller.
No.
But they shut down the border. They aggressively went after the criminal illegal immigrants, and with, according to them, a lot of success. And then I think if Trump didn't have Stephen Miller in his ear saying, hey, we got to get these numbers up, let's go to Home Depot, then he might even have a more empathetic approach to those people that maybe, deserve a little more thought before they're being rounded up and separated from their children and their wives and whoever else. I think Stephen Miller is the driving force in the Home Depot raids.
Yes, he is. Yeah. According to the Wall Street Journal, that's exactly. Go get these people. Go get them. They came into the country. I don't think he's necessarily as involved in the long game as some others. Here's the long game. They desperately want to keep the House, right? And was it 4 or 5? They could flip if you lose those seats in the House. Because let's face it, if Trump loses the House, But these next 2 years are going to be pretty rugged for him, really rough to get stuff done if he continues to go around Congress. But let's say he lines back up again and actually starts being the executive and following the Constitution. Okay. But if he loses the House and loses the Senate, man, he's done. There's a bottle him up. So trying to get as much of this stuff going as possible. Plus, also, they want to be able to go 2 years from now or a year and a half from now. Look, we told you we'd get these people. This is the reason you elected me. And we're rounding them up and we're shipping them out and we're getting rid of them, just like we said we would. This is wonderful to have these riots in L.A. because then Trump can go, look at this. This is the same sort of crap that we saw in 2020 when Democrats were, aligned with the media and there was a peaceful protest and billions of dollars being destroyed as the George Floyd martyr brigade marched around and declared that he was St. George and therefore I'm going to throw a rock through a Starbucks. So that really hurt the Democrats because when Trump came in as we're going to be law and order, people are like, yeah, I like law and order. And here he is again. So he wants to be able to keep that going because he realizes that's what the American people voted for. And it's going to be able to line up, hey, if I got the House with me and we keep the Senate, we're going to be able to keep law and order in place. The Democrats don't know what to do at this point because they don't want to all of a sudden jump in and start to act like they're trying to save somebody, or they could turn that person they're trying to save could be just a Maryland man. And then they realize, oh my God, we hooked our wagon to just a Maryland man, and we're finding out who the Maryland man is. So Democrats don't know which way to go because they don't want to be part of the law and disorder or dislaw and disorder. You think about the number of people that lost their positions and elected officials when they found out that they wanted to defund the police. How dumb was that? So here's Trump, and he's got his guy Miller in there, and they're pushing hard to be able to continue to get it. I think they got 66,000. They have deported 66,000. Most of those are illegal immigrants. Yes. Are there some that they sweep up and they find out later on this guy shouldn't be caught? Yeah. Will some be caught and sent over? Yes. But when you have 12 million people invade the country, we had no problem with 12 million coming in. I guess we have a problem when we're shipping a few out. And it does look bad if you just simply say, well, this is the authoritarianism and this is the Nazis and the fascists and this is what we're told. So that's why you get young valedictorians that we're seeing down there in Seattle that are, this is part of the pushback against the Nazis and the fascists. So, and the media is no better, just talking about, well, this is, Trump using the Insurrection Act of 1804. No, he's not. It's not the Insurrection Act. It has nothing to do with the Insurrection Act. It's Article 2, USC 12406. If a federal employee and a federal building are being attacked or there's criminal activity against a federal employee, then Article 2 allows the President of the United States to step in. It's not the Insurrection Act of 1806. So just a little bit of a few facts for those folks over there at CNN and MSNBC.
It's going to be a long summer, isn't it?
You know what we need? We need a helicopter.
Yes, we do.
You don't need a boat, just a friend with a boat. You don't need a helicopter, just a friend with a helicopter. That's the mistake the pilot made. He's like, hey, anytime you guys want, just call me.
We're calling him.
I think it only seats 2.
Really?
I think so. We can all take turns.
There you go.
Here's Nate in the Big Public Traffic. Does Nathan?
All right, Washington 811 has the update. It's getting pretty busy out there. Everett to Seattle holding steady at an hour and 10 minutes, 1 hour from Linwood with this thick backup now. It is improving, but it is still heavy from 130th and Northgate down to I-90. Everett to Bellevue is up to 55 minutes. You're crowded through Alderwood and Canyon Park, and then again in Kirkland starting at Northeast 70th. Once you hit Bellevue, South 405 turns into a bumper-to-bumper backup approaching 520 all the way to the VMAC. Bellevue to South Center, tack on another 35 minutes. Seattle to Everett, an hour 5 minutes. You're heavy from Mercer all the way through North Linwood. Our North 5 backup starting in South Seattle is almost connected to this backup, and soon our North 5 commute through Seattle will start near Albro and continue all the way into Linwood. Just a heads up. Bellevue to Everett, an hour 10 minutes. Heavy from Southeast 8th and Bellevue all the way up into Alderwood. We cleared our crash, though, at Southeast 8th, and so that opens up a couple lanes in Bellevue. And Tacoma to Olympia is still at 1 hour. If you're digging in your yard, the law requires you to call 811 to avoid dangerous and costly damages to utility lines. Call 811 or submit online at digsafewa.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
You know, hair loss is an experience that's just different for everybody. For some people, they look good bald. For me, when I started losing my hair, I was like, oh my gosh, it's really thinning out fast. It started to make me feel like I was an old guy, robbed me of my identity. You know, to this day, I still remain absolutely surprised by how easy the solution was. I tell everybody about this with my friends that are Advanced Hair. It's not just me. You see, Advanced Hair has helped tens of thousands of people. And they, again, are the 425 Business of the Year winners again, second year in a row. So let's take a look in the mirror. How's it going? Starting to thin in the front, sort of going bald there in the back. Barbara tells you starting to thin it more and more, and you get less and less. Maybe the haircuts are only taking 5 minutes. Well, that's probably a pretty good sign that you need to do something about it. So you get the choice. Okay, being bald, shave all your hair off, all right, or fix it. You want to fix it. Let's admit it. You want to fix it. Advanced Hair, your own natural hair, begins to regrow the very next day. It's guaranteed to grow. You set up a free consultation, get $250 off and $250 free hair graft. You give them a call at 425-449-8185. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Hey, it's Charlie Harder.
And I'm Amanda Factor.
And coming up on the show, we have Emmy Award-winning actor Jeremy Piven. You know him from Entourage.
An agent actually said to me one time, he goes, I'm having trouble getting you work on your hiatus because everyone's saying there's no way that's acting.
What's bringing him to Seattle later this summer?
We'll tell you. Coming up tomorrow morning on Seattle's Morning News.
Seattle's Morning News, 6 to 9. Watch the interview on the KIRO News Radio YouTube page and the KIRO Newsradio app.
When emergencies like wildfires, hurricanes, or severe storms strike, reliable communication can save lives. Still, many families don't have a plan. Craig Martinez, National Public Safety Strategist at T-Mobile, has more.
First responders handle more than 200 million emergencies every year. They depend on strong networks, but in a crisis, those systems can fail when we need them most.
In 2024, there were 27 U.S. weather and climate disasters with losses exceeding $1 billion each. Despite this, a new T-Mobile survey shows 34% of adults don't have a clear communications plan, even though most say reliable mobile communication is as essential as food and water in a disaster.
Preparedness isn't just about supplies, it's about staying connected. Many first responders say unreliable networks are still their biggest concern during emergencies.
With T-Priority, T-Mobile is providing first responders with a dedicated slice of its 5G network to give them more capacity, faster 5G speeds, and the highest priority. To learn more, visit tpriority.com.
Lori here from Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation, where we stand by our quality gutter and gutter guard systems with a 30-year no-clog guarantee on all gutter guard systems we install. Call today and get $250 off gutter guard installation or visit us at guardianroofing.com.
Living with multiple broken or missing teeth? Think you can't afford dental implants? I'm Holly, part of the care team with South Seattle Smiles. I'm here to tell you, you have options. We help patients use their medical insurance to pay for life-changing dental implant treatment. You may qualify to receive a total full mouth reconstruction for a fraction of the cost. We work with many employer-based medical insurances and are in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO. Don't let navigating medical insurance stop you from a life-changing opportunity. I'll help maximize the plan you have. If you're ready to transform your smile, call me right now at 206-241-5533. You'll speak with me or one of our team. Take the first steps and call 206-241-5533 or find us at southseattlesmiles.com. That is southseattlesmiles.com. Your insurance company will hate it. Your family will love it.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with zero investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit legacyg.com. That's legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacg.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
Guys, want long-term health you can count on? It starts with knowing your numbers. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value, including testosterone, blood sugar, heart health, and more. Take control of your health today and stay strong for the long haul. Offer ends June 30th. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com today.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granello. Dozens of protesters remain outside the federal building in downtown Seattle. They are apparently trying to block ICE agents from leaving. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch joins us live at that scene with more. James.
Yeah, we're told, Aaron, that they were expecting ICE detainees to leave this facility at some point, so they've been waiting for that to happen. A short time ago, the Sallyport doors did open up. Immediately, all of the protesters rushed into the drive there and blocked the exit to that Sallyport. Again, a Sallyport is a garage-style door where vehicles enter and exit from the federal building here. After they all gathered in that driveway there, they eventually closed the door probably 2 minutes later, and now they've gone back to just standing around. There are probably about 40 of them here, Aaron. Most of them appear to be legitimate protesters. They're concerned about what ICE agents are doing around the country, but we do also have those protesters dressed in black with masks on, gas masks, black helmets as well. So at this point, they've closed that door and everything is kind of settled here again. We'll wait and see if they open the door again. By the way, if you can't find a Lime scooter or a Lime bike anywhere downtown, that's because they're being used to barricade the doors here at the federal building. Reporting live in Seattle, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Thank you, James. Now, Seattle Police Chief is vowing to protect the First Amendment rights of everyone in the city. Sean Barnes made the comments during one of his confirmation hearings before the City Council today. He said it when he was asked about President Trump's decision to send troops to Los Angeles in response to protests there.
I will probably go to jail and be in prison because we have an administration that has threatened to jail politicians and indeed has done so.
Today's City Council meeting was the first step in Barnes' confirmation process. He could be the permanent chief sometime next week. Tense exchange today between Washington Senator Patty Murray and the director of the National Institutes of Health. Senator Murray pointing to canceled grants like the one for HIV vaccine research at Seattle's Fred Hutch Cancer Research Center.
We now have the technological tools to do that. I've been working on developing a program to actually implement this vision so we can use
But you did
new
terminate
advances.
the HIV research at Fred Hutch that, again, was on the cusp of a treatment for 6,000 patients nationwide. You did do that.
I'd have to get back to you.
You
on
did
that.
do that. Okay.
At least 160 clinical trials have been canceled. The latest budget proposal calls for 40% overall cuts to the NIH. California woman has filed a class action lawsuit against Costco, claiming the company misled customers by advertising free shipping that wasn't actually free. Here's KIRO News Radio's Frank Lenzi.
KIRO 7 TV reports the federal lawsuit alleges that Costco advertised shipping charges as $0.00 on certain online purchases, when in fact the cost of shipping was bundled into the price. In this case, the plaintiff says she paid $250 more for a couch on Costco.com than she would have paid in store, despite a promise of free delivery.
We have reached out to Costco for comment, and that takes us to 434. We go to Nate Connors at the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk.
All right, Aaron, it's a busy one out there. Everett to Marysville is going to take you 25 minutes, about a 10-minute delay from the norm here, with a pretty steady backup starting a little north of the Boeing Freeway all the way up to 529. Seattle to Everett, a 1-hour drive, and it's heavy from Mercer through North Linwood. Bellevue to Everett, still at an hour 10 10 minutes with heavy volume starting in South Bellevue all the way into Alderwood. Everett to Seattle, an hour, 10 minutes as well. A solid hour commute from Linwood with a solid backup from 130th and Northgate down to I-90. Everett to Bellevue has improved to 45 minutes. You're still crowded through Alderwood and Canyon Park, and then again in Kirkland starting in Northeast 70th. And then from there, the backup doesn't let up until you cross Northeast 44th near the VMAC in Renton. Bellevue to South Center is an additional 35 minutes. Crossing the lake from Bellevue to Seattle, right around a 25-minute commute on both I-90 and 520. Seattle to Federal Way, 40 minutes. Tacoma to Olympia, 1 hour. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Thank you, Nate. Your forecast brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Sunny today and again for tomorrow. The whole week is looking dry for the most parts. Right now, 79 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
KIRO 7 News starting at 4. When you need to stay plugged in and connected, they've got you. Live breaking news so you know what's happening now. Investigations and in-depth coverage to get you answers. Weather on the way to help you prepare, bringing the day's biggest stories into focus so you know more. Watch KIRO 7 News at 4, 5, and 6 only on KIRO 7 TV.
Thank you, Joe. Well said, well read. Bucky's Auto Service Centers with 16 locations. Been around for 54 years. Choices other than taking the car to Bucky's. We talked about this before. We could go on and on. Fill it with rats. Set it on fire.
Yeah.
Yep. Drive it down to Seattle and let those protesters, smash it all up.
Yes.
And throw it in a lake. Some of the choices.
Somebody said you could attach an IED to it.
An IUD?
IED.
IED. Not an IUD.
IED.
Okay.
IED.
You okay there?
Yes.
You have a little mini stroke on me. Bucky's Auto Service Centers. That's right. All right, you kiddies there on YouTube. Hey, we got some video for you. So the temporarily unemployed baristas are down in Seattle marching around, and they are in front there of the federal building, and they've decided to lock arms. And they've got their umbrellas and their hats, and they're out there. They got their masks on. They're screaming and yelling. And they have decided they're going to block the exit. So that's the garage. If you could see it, that's the garage where the people come through. The police are there removing the bikes that are all gathering up. And who's taking all this video? Is that Katie?
This is Katie Davis Port.
They know Katie Davis. Put some music underneath him there. Let the audience enjoy some of the music. Let's choose some music for the people that are trying to block ICE.
I'm a loser,
there we go.
And I lost someone who's near to me. I'm a loser.
Show some of them, Katie.
What I appear to be. Although I laugh and I act like a clown, beneath this mask I am wearing a frown.
Yeah, even a mask.
Yeah.
My tears are falling like rain from the sky.
Yeah, baby.
Is it for her or myself that I try? I'm a loser.
There they are. Hey, losers, go get a job.
I'm a loser.
Hey, losers, go get a job.
What I appear to be.
There's the one woman that works there.
Yes.
Occasionally grabs a scooter and pulls it
Has
out
to
of the way.
move it out of the way.
Oh, she looks so exasperated. Like,
Yeah, the mob mentality. Malcolm Gladwell told a really interesting story. He was talking about what it takes in order for somebody to throw a rock through a building. He said if you get 100 people, the first guy that picks up the rock is the angriest individual. He picks up the rock and he or she throws it through the window, right? That's the most angry individual. And then as it's going down, so by the 10th, now that person, the 10th person in line, was not as angry as the first guy, but the first person sets the example. He said, by time you get to the 100th person picking up and throwing the rock, from let's take the first rock thrower, let's put them at a 100 as far as anger or whatever the reason they're throwing the rock. By the time you get all the way down to the bottom, that person, because they weren't the first, they weren't the second, they just were not as active to get in front of everybody to throw that rock. As you get all the way down to the bottom, that person's just throwing the rock as everybody else is throwing the rock. And the mob psychology, which is when you work people up into this fever pitch, and there's no longer anything rational. There's no real thought behind it. You're just moving as this giant organism of just basic, emotions, anger, And most of it is anger, resentment. But if you go down there and you talk to those people that are flipping off Katie, she takes the video, and you were to talk to them and get some idea of why are you out here and what are you trying to accomplish, most of them have no idea. They just want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Most of these protests don't really ever amount to anything because it used to be back in the 60s and 70s, the 60s for the war protest, that took a lot of work. You had to go around and knock on dorm rooms and hang up flyers and get people to show up, and then you had to get them all together there at the student union or something, and they're all going to march and get a bus or whatever. Now it's just instantaneous on your phone. You just get a social media, hey, we're all heading down to the federal courthouse. Right. I know you don't have a job. If you could get off your parents' couch, come on down, put down the porn and the video games and join us down there because you got nothing else going on, and it makes you feel like you're part of something that's really big, like a big movement, and you're pushing back on, the Nazis and the fascists and these other stuff. And like, look at this. Talk to some of those people. They have anything else going on in their life?
Well, they were told by Katie that they plan to be down here every single day.
Oh God!
And this is just the federal building protest. Tomorrow at 7, there's a big Cal Anderson protest.
Yeah,
I know
okay.
Saturday there's several moving through town, but we can expect to see this apparently every day.
You know what's really interesting? The Occupy movement. Remember the Occupy movement? Mm-hmm. What that basically was, and I don't have a problem with it, they said there's no way that the federal government should bail out all of these banks and bail out everybody that's short the market and bail out everybody. But they did. They protected all of their guys. They made sure everybody that was, closing and opening loans and stuff and making money on this stuff, they all were made whole. Well, the Occupy movement said this isn't fair. We can't have the federal government in there, playing winners and losers. We, the taxpayers, are the ones that are, paying the salaries for these bankers and that made all of this money, and none of them are being held accountable. No one is going to face any court. No one will face any laws that were broken, and no one's looking into it. So the Occupy movement got started. Well, one of the reasons the Occupy movement got destroyed is because the corporations stepped in and said, you know what, we're with you on that. Yeah, in fact, you know what we're going to do? We're going to start to do DEI. We're going to start to do all the stuff that you like. So the corporations, the banks, got in with the Occupy movement and basically cut the legs right out from underneath it by getting beside them and saying, we will support you. And then at that point, the Occupy movement people are like, well, they're kind of seeing our problem, and it just sucked the air out of them. It was a smart move. Kind of went around them and then sort of became part of them, so they just went away. It's like absorbing them. Isn't there some sort of like fish that can absorb another fish? There isn't some like, it's a snake or some weird animal.
Sponge.
Is it a sponge? You're just saying that. I thought it was some like deep sea animal, some creature that can like just go and absorb them. I'm going to look it up.
That's a good idea.
Because Nate just yells out sponge.
Yeah,
I don't know what that's
Well,
all
a sponge soaks things up.
No, it's more complicated than that. Never mind. Here's the traffic. Come on, Nathan. Come on.
All righty. Seattle Sports has our update. It is a busy drive between Seattle and Everett today. In fact, Seattle to Everett is a 1 hour drive, and it's heavy from Mercer all the way through North Linwood. Bellevue to Everett, an hour, 10 minutes with thick volumes from Southeast 8 in Bellevue all the way up to that Alderwood interchange. And then you're going to join that North 5 back up through Linwood. Everett to Seattle is an hour 10, just 1 hour just from Linwood, and it's bumper to bumper from 130th and Northgate to I-90. Everett to Bellevue, 45 minutes. We are actually improving on this route, but once you get to Bellevue, South 405 is heavy from 520 all the way down to the VMAC in Renton. Bellevue to South Center is another 35 minutes with a little backup in South Center. Southbound 99, you're packed from Green Lake down to the stadiums, just volume here. And Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway has improved a bit. You're down to a 40-minute drive. Search Seattle Sports on YouTube and click subscribe to get fresh video content daily. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Okay, let's get organized. Let's get serious. Let's get organized. We're heading into the summer. Wouldn't it be nice to have a garage you drive into and there's no junk in front of you? Or you open the closet, it's in the bedroom, and you know exactly where your clothes are. Hey, there's shoes I haven't seen in 10 years. Wouldn't it be nice to be organized? When you are organized, it reduces a lot of stress. It's easier to find stuff. You'll just love it. And you've been thinking about this for a while, and you think, okay, let's get some closets. So you type into the Googleating machine, and that one comes up. You're like, oh, I've heard of those guys. How about this? Let's get a local company, one that's been around for a while, like 22 years. It's family run. That's going to try to source most of its material right here in the Pacific Northwest. Let's keep the money local. Let's call the good people over there Closets by Design. ClosetsByDesign.com. Love the fact they're family run business, and even better is they got 40% off right now, plus an additional 15% off and 18 months financing and free installation. They came out to the barn. I can't wait to see the work. I think it's Thursday or Friday they're starting. They're going to put a brand new closet in. They're going to organize the garage. Can't wait to have them come in. 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's 1-800-BY-DESIGN. Let's get organized. Let's get ClosetsByDesign.com.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions. 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
You're losing your hair and you simply need a solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration. From the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, maybe all three like I had. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, Advanced Hair is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. Right now, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that redefined hair restoration. That's 425-449-8185. Or for the before and afters, visit advancedhair.com.
It started as a puddle.
Where?
In the shower.
Uh-oh.
Then the kitchen sink.
Started backing up?
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Clogged up.
Right. No problem.
Beg your pardon?
There's no clog we can't clear.
You're Dan.
From Apollo Plumbing.
This is going to get pricey.
How about $83?
To clear my drain?
Apollo Plumbing clears main drains every day.
For $83?
83 or it's free.
What's the catch?
No catch. We'll even do a camera inspection.
Why's that?
It's the best way to find the cause of your clog.
And it's included?
No extra charge. Truth is, we hate clogs.
I don't love them.
Seen them all.
Ew.
I promise. There's no clog Apollo can't clear.
Guaranteed.
83 or free.
Goodbye, slow drains.
All it takes is an accessible clean out.
And Apollo gets my drains draining again.
You call, we come, it's fixed.
My heroes.
Just doing our job.
Thank you, Apollo Plumbing.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Do you have multiple broken or missing teeth? I'm Holly with South Seattle Smiles. Our unique dental implant practice uses many employer-based medical insurances to cover your dental implant treatment. Don't let navigating medical insurance stop you from a life-changing opportunity. I'll help maximize the plan you have. Call 206-241-5533 now. We are in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO. That's 206-241-5533 or visit southseattlesmiles.com.
Call or click 811 before you dig. Anything that causes you to roll up your sleeves a little and dig in requires you to first connect with 811. Call or click 811 and visit safeexcavator.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
Oh, just enjoying the protests. San Francisco and L.A. out marching around. That was good.
They're back on the 101 freeway in L.A.
Right. So Trump, I don't know how many troopers did he send all together? Is it like 2,000 or something like that?
4,000 National
Guard all together.
700 Marines.
Marines, right. Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. And still, you don't hear much because, again, the Democrats don't exactly know how to come down on this because if it gets really violent. The thing no one wants, although maybe some people that have a dark side, if somebody gets shot, somebody gets killed, even worse, that person becomes the martyr, right? That's the martyr because, that's the 4 dead in Ohio, right there at Kent State where the troopers came in there, the National Guard came in to break up the protests that were happening on college campuses. Okay. On a lighter note, this tradition continues here at the John Curley Show because haven't given up trying to get in the Guinness World Book of Records. And I'm still trying, and I'm looking. And so anytime somebody breaks a world record, Joe always has to put it on. So where is this one?
Oh, he's right. He's up on the screen right now.
Okay, so he was in an ice block or a big thing of snow of ice for 2 hours. He's all the way up to his head.
Yep.
He's in there for an entire 2 hours, and then they dig him back out. I thought Wim Hof I was the big Wim Hof guy for polar plunging and stuff, but he was able to stay in there for 2 hours.
2 hours and 7 seconds. The previous record was 1 hour and 44 minutes, set in 2022 by an Icelandic guy.
What is pretty remarkable when you consider that you just assumed that it would have killed him.
Yeah, it seems dangerous.
Yeah, that's probably an understatement. Right, and out they dragged the man for whatever reason. He decided that was the one Burke he was going to try to go for.
You could do that, huh?
No, I can't do that one. I was looking at I thought, okay, I know what I do. We're going to do push-ups. Most amount of push-ups in 1 minute. It's 147.
Or can you get even close?
I could do 100. But I'm 47 away. I watched the guy do it. He's like bouncing off the ground. I mean, not that he's cheating, but just super fast. And then I met this guy that has the world record for most amount of push-ups in 24 hours. I told you how I met him.
No.
I was at some event, and I'm talking to him, and he goes, you're in pretty good shape. What's your story? And I told him, I'm trying to break this record, most amount of push-ups in 24 hours. And he laughed. He goes, that's funny. I said, why is that funny? He goes, that's my record. Just out of nowhere. He would happen to be in Virginia.
Really?
At some event. And he wasn't like a world record at luncheon. He just happened to be there. I said, oh my God, you're the guy. Oh my God. And he, yeah, don't, it's such a pain. Don't do it. I said, why? He goes, if you try to break it and then you break it, then I got to try to do it all over again. Yeah, it's like 3,400 and some of them. He explained the whole science to it. But how was there was a couple of 7 billion people in the world. I'm standing there at the Chesapeake Bay wine auction, and this guy happens to be standing there, both drinking beer. The only reason we were talking is we're both drinking beer because we don't like wine. And then we start talking about staying in good shape, and I told him I'm trying to break the world record for most amount of pull-ups. And he goes, oh yeah, that's mine. Crazy.
That is crazy. How old a guy was he?
He's in his early 40s.
Really? That seems like a young man's game.
Hey, that's a challenge. Everything's a young man's game.
That's fair.
All right, here is Nate. Speaking of young men in the game, Beacon Plumbing Traffic does Nate.
All righty, Global Credit Union has our update. Bellevue to Everett has gone up an hour 15 minutes because of a new crash in Canyon Park right there at 527. It's blocking the right lane, and this adds to our already hefty backup starting way back in Bellevue. Seattle to Everett hovering at 1 hour. You're packed from Mercer through North Linwood. Everett to Marysville, you've improved a bit, a 20-minute drive now. Everett to Seattle, hour 15, hour 5 just from Linwood, and you've got a bumper-to-bumper grind from 130th and Northgate all the way down down to I-90. North 5, you're thick from the north end of Boeing Field into downtown. Over on the east side, South 405 is thick from about Northeast 70th and Kirkland all the way through Bellevue down to the VMAC. Bellevue to South Center is going to take you 35 minutes. Southbound 99 remains heavy from Green Lake all the way down to the stadiums. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway, 40 minutes. And Tacoma to Olympia still hanging on at a 1-hour drive. Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no-fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
All right. Joe was saying that it's a young man's game. Well, one way to stay a young man is to try to keep the big bad stuff from taking you out early, like diabetes and heart disease and cancer. See, Longevity Medical Clinic for 25 years has been proactive. And they've been making sure, after they take a look at your blood, and they see everything is in there, all indicators of how you're aging, it's all told to them in that story. And the doctors of Longevity Medical Clinic try to be proactive. They see how you're aging, and then they make small incremental changes. So again, the big bad stuff doesn't take you out earlier. It's just extending your life. And as you're extending the life, you still have vitality and energy. You're able to take on the world because you're working with the doctor that is dedicated to stop the problems before the problems get started. That's what being proactive is. The way it works in medicine now is you have a problem, you go see the doctor. Can you imagine if you had a doctor that saw the problem before it got started? That's what Longevity Medical Clinic does. I've been a patient since 2009. Love my doctor. Love working there. You will as well. All you got to do is take the free health analysis. Find out more. Take the free health analysis and check out longevitymedicalclinic.com.
You listen to John Curley every afternoon. What does John listen to every morning?
Here's how I start my morning. Get my pot of coffee going, and then I turn on Seattle's Morning News. I listen to Charlie and Amanda. This is how I prep for my show, because I know those guys have, hundreds of years of experience, although Amanda looks better than Charlie. I'm going to get the straight news.
Experience matters. Seattle's Morning News, weekday mornings 6 to 9 on KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, and the KIRO News Radio app.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GREEN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GREEN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GREEN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
She and Ursula, weekdays from 9 to noon on KIRO News Radio.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Underestimating the trucking industry is one of the biggest mistakes I see victims and other lawyers make. Trucking companies have an army of lawyers and experts who act quickly after an accident to protect the company. Only an experienced trucking accident lawyer can navigate the complicated federal and state laws to protect your rights. If you or a loved one has been injured in a trucking accident, call Davis Law Group today for a free consultation or get my free book on trucking accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Download the KIRO Newsradio app, where you can watch us live or stream us live anywhere, anytime.
How would this initiative, whatever this initiative is, how would he fund it?
Stay connected everywhere. Download the KIRO Newsradio app.
If you're thinking about renovating an attic, spending more time in your sunroom, or building onto your home, a Carrier ductless unit is the perfect solution for climate control. It's efficient, quiet, and incredibly flexible when it comes to installation because there's no ductwork required. It's just one more way we're making your home totally comfortable.
Your local Carrier heating and cooling dealer will improve your home's comfort, air quality, and efficiency. Visit CarrierNorthwest.com to find the expert near you. Carrier, turn to the experts.
Lori here from Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation. Upgrading attic insulation is a popular and cost-effective way to make your home more energy efficient, slashing utility bills. Call now and save $299 off attic ceiling and ventilation, or visit us at guardianroofing.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. In Los Angeles, a fifth day of demonstrations in small portions of that city near a federal building. CBS's Elise Preston reports.
Officers have moved in to arrest the protesters who have gathered outside this federal detention facility in downtown Los Angeles. The day had mostly been peaceful, but many protesters failed to disperse after officers issued the order, prompting more National Guardsmen, Homeland Security Police, and LAPD to swarm the area.
During a visit to Fort Bragg to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday, President Trump has told soldiers,
"What you're witnessing in California is a full-blown assault on peace, on public order, and on national sovereignty carried out by rioters bearing foreign flags with the aim of continuing a foreign invasion of our country. We're not going to let that happen."
There's also an immigration raid protest in New York City. CBS's Matt Piper also reports.
U.S. Rep. LaMonica MacGyver has been indicted on federal charges alleging she impeded and interfered with immigration officers outside a New Jersey immigration detention center. The incident happened last month as Newark's mayor was arrested after trying to join MacGyver and two other Democratic reps who said they went to conduct congressional oversight. On social media, MacGyver writes that she will plead not guilty and says the facts will show she was simply doing her job.
President Trump says he is restoring the names of several U.S. military bases. CBS's Linda Kenyon has that.
Speaking at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the president said he was proud that he earlier restored the name of that military base, which was renamed Fort Liberty 2 years ago. Ahead of the celebration of the Army's 250th anniversary, Trump announced he's also restoring some other names.
Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee.
There is a federal law that prohibits honoring generals who fought for the South during the Civil War. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
A third person has been arrested in connection with the smuggling of a potentially dangerous biological material that was brought into the U.S. CBS's Scott McFarland tells us the FBI, in a court filing, described the latest arrest involves alleged smuggling of material related to certain worms that requires a government permit.
Cheng Wan is going to be in court in Detroit tomorrow for a detention hearing. The prosecutors will make some argument as to why Han should be held pending trial. There's another defendant also facing her time in court, and a third defendant, a man who is believed to be in China, who's not in U.S. custody, all of them facing smuggling charges from the U.S. Department of Justice.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Coming up, a lone hiker spotted in the mountains near Leavenworth. New clues in the search for Travis Decker. Breaking details after Nate Conrad at the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk.
All right, Aaron. Office of the Insurance Commissioner of Washington State brings us the update. Bellevue to Everett continues to struggle. An hour and 15-minute commute. We've got this crash ongoing in Canyon Park at 527, blocking the right lane and part of the on-ramp there. And this adds to our hefty backup starting way back in South Bellevue. Seattle to Everett is up to an hour, 10 minutes. You're packed from the convention Detention Center through North Linwood. Everett to Seattle has gone up to an hour 15 minutes, an hour 5 just from Linwood, and it's bumper to bumper heading into Northgate all the way down to I-90. North 5 is bumper to bumper from the north end of Boeing Field into downtown Seattle. South 405 heading into Bellevue actually starts to jam up near Northeast 70th in Kirkland, and it remains thick all the way to the VMAC. Bellevue to South Center has gone up to 45 minutes. Another backup as you head into South Center. Crossing the lake from Bellevue, 25 minutes on 520. It's up to 35 now on I-90. And Tacoma to Olympia, you're still hanging on at a 1-hour commute. Stop Medicare fraud by reporting anything suspicious to the Washington State Health Insurance Benefits Advisors, known as SHIBA. Learn more by searching online for Washington State Medicare fraud. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, breaking news.
Good evening, I'm Aaron Granello as we follow 2 breaking news stories tonight, beginning in Chelan County. This is where search teams believe they are closer than ever to catching the man accused of murdering his 3 daughters. The very latest from KIRO News Radio's Frank Lindsay.
The Chelan County Sheriff's Office says they have tracked a person believed to be Travis Decker into the Blewett Pass Highway 97 area. The search gained new momentum after a hiking group reported seeing a lone hiker in the Enchantments who appeared to be unprepared for the terrain and weather and seemed to be avoiding contact with others, according to KIRO 7. A helicopter search team later spotted somebody matching that description near Kolchuk Lake. That person ran when they saw the aircraft. Tracking teams went to that area and eventually followed a trail to the Ingalls Creek trailhead. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
Our other breaking news story at this hour, an anti-ICE demonstration growing outside the federal building in downtown Seattle. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch joining us live with the latest. James.
Aaron, calm has returned to the protesters here outside the federal building. That all changed about an hour ago when the Sallyport doors opened. That is the entrance and exit where they tend to bring in and take out detainees. As soon as that door opened, those protesters rushed to block the way. It was open about 2 minutes, and then they closed the door, and now the protesters have returned to just sitting around, mostly looking at their phones and eating donuts, as I said earlier. They are getting their point across, though. A number of cars, as they pass this protest, have been blowing their horns. That's sent cheers within the crowd of protesters. They say that they plan to be here every day this week. And they haven't said how long they will be here tonight, but we will be here covering it for as long as it lasts. Reporting live in downtown Seattle, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
All right, thank you, James. Now your forecast brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. We are cleared tonight, more sunshine tomorrow with highs in the mid-70s. Right now, 79 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granello, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
I've got this song that I holler to, and it is entitled "Somebody Loves Me."
Okay.
And it goes like this.
Oh boy. Okay, Andrew. Why? What have I done? My Lord, my God, why have thou forsaken me? Driving in a minute! Sorry, I was like, well, you didn't dive into the water. Come on, how come your hair's still dry? Okay, you've been a part of the show by texting. Teeny Tiny Lady's going to find the letter of the day. Letter of the day, 1-888-973-5476. Lots going on. So, James Lynch down there at Federal Building where ICE is trying to do their jobs, and people are now chaining a bunch of e-bikes together, and they're doing everything they can to stop that. We'll tell you what the chief of police in Seattle has to say about it. But first, let's go to the fact that Travis Decker, who has been on the lam, on the run since he became the prime suspect for the death of his 3 children. Autopsy comes in the other day. They were all suffocated. And I think right now at this point, where about 100 deputies are out there, Aaron, looking for this guy, they think they might have a clue as to where he is.
I'd say at least 100 deputies at this point. We've been leading with this story most of the day today because Early this morning, we learned that they have intensified their search. They seem to have narrowed in on a specific area south of Leavenworth. And now we're getting new details from the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. This just came in minutes ago, that they think they have tracked Decker to the area of the Ingalls Creek trailhead on Highway 97. Here's why they think he's there. Apparently, there was a hiking party in the Enchantments area as of late, spotted a lone hiker who did not seem to be prepared for the elements. And when they spotted him, he took off.
Okay.
Chelan County Sheriff's Office acted on that tip immediately, sent a helicopter to that specific area. Helicopter apparently also saw lone hiker out in the Lake Enchantments near Kolchuk Lake. As that man, that lone hiker, spotted the chopper, took off.
Took off again.
Right. So they seem to, and they sent canines out to that area, and it seems like they may have a tail on him.
Right. So just think about, so if he, what was it, the 2nd of June, right, he's been out there. He obviously, as the hikers that reported him saying he didn't look like somebody that should be prepared to be hiking.
Right.
Extremely hot temperatures there in that area for the last couple of days. I don't know where he's getting food. I don't know how he's getting any fresh water, but he's been out there. And now, so the helicopter's circling. The helicopter's been out looking, but this seems to be the hottest trail that they've been able to kind of pinpoint him to know where he is.
Here in the newsroom, we've been looking at a lot of the flight data as well of some of these helicopter crews. And the last day or two, they have been circling this one area right where they're talking about right now, the Ingalls Creek trailhead.
Right.
So it sure seems like that is where they're at. And our news partners at KIRO 7, Brooke Griffin has been out on the scene doing a great job witnessing, dozens of people. Looked like they were dressed for combat. Shields, helmets, rifles, all-out tactical gear. I don't know if they were tanks, but there were certainly some sort of, it looked like military vehicles almost entering the woods in this area. So they have set up a perimeter, it would appear, and they seem to be hot on this guy's trail.
Yeah,
and they're under the assumption that obviously they think he's alive right now.
And they've been keeping a lot of this stuff, close to the vest, because what they don't want to do is they don't want to leak anything to the media, because then if this guy is able to know, hey, they're now knowing where I am.
Exactly.
So most of this stuff in the news organizations, we're playing catch up on it, right? That it's that by time we get the information, it's about an hour old, or we try to get a little faster, but certainly we're in no need to be able to tell the story sooner than it needs to be told, because we don't want to give this guy, Travis Decker, any heads up as to how close they are to him. So now the helicopter's there, the canine units, which have tried to catch a scent for this guy for a while and haven't had much luck, they're on him. So wouldn't that be a giant relief, of course, for the family members, and then also for the number of volunteers and those that are being paid to find someone, the accused murderer of his 3 children. You kind of want this thing just to, this next chapter to end, and then the process of the justice system to move in. So, again,
I do think it's also interesting to note that they have already called a news conference for tomorrow night at 4 p.m., with the Marshal Service, the Sheriff of Chelan County. This will be happening tomorrow night, 4 o'clock at the Chelan County Courthouse.
Often in cases where someone has gone on the lam for a while, they will find the body of the individual, that they get to a certain place. If they have got a gun, they're able to, end their own life. That happens in some cases where the person's been out for a while. They realize they're sort of trapped. They have no way, and they decide they're just going to end their own life rather than go through whatever faces them on the other side. Yeah. So, and the family members have been really quiet, haven't they?
Yeah. All we've heard is from their attorney.
We do know that a couple of days ago, it was a big story in the news that the GoFundMe campaign had gone over $1 million. Yeah. And people were wondering, what's the money for? Certainly not impugning the character of any of the individuals that received the goodness, the largest of others people's hearts. But they're wondering, what are they giving for? And I guess it's just people want to show some support for the grieving individuals that lost these 3 kids. We if you need to go here, and I don't want to keep you here, we had a woman the other day. Joe and I tracked her down. It was 2020. Her same sort of thing. Her 3 kids, her nieces and nephews, all killed, but in this case by the mother. And we had her on, We called her out of the blue. She was in Phoenix. And unfortunately, the interview was hard for anybody to hear because she was in her car. We had caught her completely off guard. And we asked her, would you come on the radio? And what did she tell us, Joe?
If it will help.
Right. We said, we believe it will, especially for the family members and anybody else that knows or grieves the loss of these young lives. So she agreed to come on, and she told her story. And can you find that sound of when she went and confronted the mom? So this woman comes on the radio with us. We call her completely out of the blue. What she had experienced in 2020 was the mother suffocated her 3 children, left them there. The father comes home, finds them, and then the aunt was on this story and would not give up and grieving for the entire family, and then gets an opportunity to, through an app, confront the mother of who's now in jail, found guilty for the murder of the 3 children. And she ends up confronting the mother, and we wanted to ask her about that. And let's see.
I've got it right here.
Okay, here we go.
Rachel, why did you do that? I can't understand this. I can't fathom what you said. I can't understand. I can't understand it.
That's the point. I kept telling you that I felt like I was losing my mind. I didn't know what was going on.
That's the mother.
I tried to talk to somebody. They kept telling me I was stupid. I was crazy. I didn't know what I'm talking about. You know how bad I wanted to go to the store. I wanted to go outside. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. You said I couldn't be seen by Francisco.
So she said, so you can hear Perla say, why did you do it? Why did you do it? And then she said, I don't know. And then she says, I couldn't go out. I couldn't go to the stores. I couldn't go out with my friends. I felt trapped by the kids. In the camera, you can see the woman we spoke to. The look on her face, Perla's look is like, you felt trapped by your kids and you couldn't go out and party with your friends. And at that point, she went from someone looking for an answer, somebody that was going to make sure that the mother would receive some of the pain that everybody on the outside, not in prison, was feeling. So we'll continue here.
No. How bad I wanted to go to the store. I wanted to go outside. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. You said I couldn't be seen by Francisco. You said I couldn't go to the store because all the babies, this and that. And I was trapped in a house. I felt like I was going crazy. I have to live with this every day of my life.
Let me tell you something. So do we. I'm gonna let you say goodbye to your kids like we had to. Okay, hold on a minute. And it hurts in here. I have to live with this. You have to live with it. Hold it right there. Hold on.
And with that, Perla brings up the 3 tiny coffins, the caskets opened with the photos to show the mother who's in prison for the murder of those 3 kids. Now, when they showed it on the news, Channel 12 there in Phoenix, they went over those photos. They didn't show those. They just showed the photos of the kids when they were alive. And when we asked Perla, I said, why did you want to confront her? She goes, I don't know what. I just wanted an answer. I don't know what kind of answer I thought I was going to get from her, but I wanted an answer. Like, why? I just wanted to know why you did this. Why? And of course, as in our conversation, there was no why. How could you possibly answer that question to make anybody feel better? And then I guess at that point, she just figured she's going to just drive the knife in and make her look at these images. And then in the conversation with Perla, the aunt of the 3 children who had lost their lives to their mother's hand in 2020, she said the main advice was do not blame yourself. Mm-hmm. She said that for the Decker family, you can't say, well, if only we had done this and only we had done that. She goes, if you are in that loop of self-blame, you'll never be able to get out of it. And then you yourself will end up feeling the guilt when really you don't deserve the guilt for that. She goes, you have to forgive yourself for not intervening because you couldn't have known. And these things were going to come forward and the outcome would be as tragic as it is. And then I asked her, well, how do you find forgiveness? And then we get into the conversation of you forgive not the individual for the act. It's a weird kind of small kind of keyhole that you have to fit through in order to come out on the other side, which is you have to, it's not freedom of forgiveness isn't even a good, probably Germans have great words that we don't have. It's, I am going to stop thinking about you. I'm going to stop reliving this over and over and over again in my own mind, because if I do that, then you take the life of those 3 children every single day, every hour that I think about you. So I will forgive myself. I guess what it is. I will forgive myself the action and energy of thinking about you.
Right.
So I forgive you. And it was, again, for her to explain it, I guess, for God forbid anybody has to go through this, but she sort of said that she felt she'd gotten to the piece of her life where she had some peace with the mother and her actions. But when I asked her, do you still have joy, or have you found joy? She said, not yet.
She said, I'll never be the same person.
Never
again.
be the same.
No.
Right. Well, no one is ever the same. Every single day you change. But in her case, it had changed her in such a way. But you could hear there was still this thing, this weight she carried with her. And it was a 15-minute phone call. Unfortunately, the quality of the phone thing wasn't great, but it was amazing to find someone else who will walk in the shoes that the Decker family will walk in as well. So anyway, just something that we had there. All right, for the remaining minute or whatever, so let's see. National Guard troops, this is the ICE, that's in San Francisco. The protests are going on. They're not riots yet. Tonight, they expect, again, more things to be set on fire in L.A., and this all just basically comes down to, remember, we had Governor Gavin Newsom saying everything's under control, and then things were not under control. So Trump sends in the National Guard, sends the Marines in, and now the federal building in Seattle has also been blockaded by a bunch of protesters. It is peaceful at this point, but is James Lynch still down there?
He's still down there, yeah.
Still down there, so we'll be checking in with him maybe later on. I know that Aaron is watching the story as well, because when it gets a little later, a little darker, more shenanigans can occur. But as it is right now, the federal building where ICE does their work is being blocked from being able to do their work. We haven't heard yet from anybody from the White House. Well, are they going to send the troops into Seattle? Because Trump talked about this in 2023 when he was on the campaign trail in Iowa. He said, listen, if it was up to me, those riots and that stuff wouldn't have been occurring. I would have been sending in the National Guard into Minneapolis. I would have sent the National Guard in and would have shut that thing down right away. We talked about the same sort of thing that happened during the Summer of Love, where they took over all of those blocks in Seattle. This is the same sort of thing. These people are basically wanting, I assume, what they'd love, these protesters, is to have the National Guard come into Seattle. If they continue to block and it continues to grow, if they start setting things on fire, Trump will send somebody in.
Katie Daviscourt, whose video we were playing earlier, She said that about 30 minutes ago that federal law enforcement sources told her that they were on standby for Seattle.
There you go. See that? And then you're going to have the people say, "Oh, well, Trump is the one that's, causing this. He's fanning the flames." No, he's just trying to make sure that federal workers can do the job that they're supposed to do. So, but you're going to it's gotten worse because of Trump. What would it be like if you didn't send in those National Guard? How many more things would burn up? So, let's hope it doesn't get that way.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave.
There you go. By the way, did they say they're going to protest every day?
Every day at the federal building. So what we're seeing today, they plan on doing that every single day. And there are dozens of other protests planned for Seattle.
But how do they get time off from their jobs?
Well,
finding a cure for cancer.
They probably put in for a little vacation time months ago.
Okay. Under work day?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And remember, we've got a huge one again tomorrow night starting at 7 at Cal Anderson.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about a protest?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about. Here's Nate, the Big Fun Shot.
All right, Everett to Marysville continues to improve, now taking 15 minutes. You're still slow approaching Broadway into Marysville, but you're close to freeway speeds through most of this backup. Bellevue to Everett, an hour 15. Your backup starts at Southeast 8th and Bellevue. It is solid all the way to 527 in Canyon Park, where we just cleared a crash over to your right shoulder. Everett to Bellevue has jumped to a solid hour. You're crowded now at the Boeing Freeway in South Everett, down past 128th. And then South 405, your backup starts right there at the interchange down to 527, where a separate collision was just cleared from the on-ramp. So we had two collisions at 527 in opposite directions just cleared. Seattle to Everett is improved to 1 hour. You're packed, though, from the Convention Center through North Linwood. Everett to Seattle, hour 10. You've got that South Everett backup I just mentioned, and then solid from Northgate to I-90. Tacoma to Olympia has improved to a 50-minute drive. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Thank you, Nathan. Closets by Design's going to come in there, organize your house. They came to the barn about 3 weeks ago, and I can't wait to see what they've come up with. They got in there, a nice lady got in there at 10 o'clock in the morning. She was with Nick till 3. They've got all sorts of big plans. I love the fact that they're going to be able to organize everything for me. They are a family-run business that's been doing this for 22 years. They try to keep most of their supplies sourced right here in the Pacific Northwest, and they're going to make it really easy for you. So if you're thinking about putting closets in, they're actually going to build a closet for us, and they're going to build a cabinet for us in the laundry room. I can't wait to show you the video when they get in there, get started, especially in the garage. They make it so easy, and the fact that they're going to offer you 40% off, plus an additional 15% off, and 18 months financing, and a free installation. Come on. This is Closets by Design. They're coming into the Curley barn. They should come into your house as well. When you get organized, it reduces the stress. You know where everything is because everything's got a place, and it looks lovely. 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's closetsbydesign.com.
Hey, it's Charlie Harger.
And I'm Amanda Factor.
And coming up on the show, we have Emmy Award-winning actor Jeremy Piven. You know him from Entourage.
An agent actually said to me one time, he goes, I'm having trouble getting you work on your hiatus because everyone's saying there's no way that's acting.
What's bringing him to Seattle later this summer?
We'll tell you. Coming up tomorrow morning on Seattle's Morning News.
Seattle's Morning News, 6 to 9. Watch the interview on the KIRO Newsradio YouTube page and the KIRO Newsradio app.
Business leaders know to solve a problem, you gotta look at it in a new way. Like travel between Seattle and Portland. Why is it such a pain? I-5 traffic, TSA slowdowns, SeaTac hassles. Seaport removes those pain points. We fly out of Boeing Field and a private terminal at PDX. You park for free, steps away from your plane. And with flights every 45 minutes, you're always home for dinner. Problem solved. Seaport Airlines. It's about time.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Need a new roof, a deck, siding, windows? Get up to $3,000 off any new installation. Hi, it's Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Home projects can add up fast, but we're here to help you save big. Book now and lock in up to $3,000 off in savings. That's $3,000 off any new installation. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Was drafted in 1999 by the Philadelphia 76ers, and that was just absolutely a dream come true.
Todd's playing in the NBA is unique. His battle with neuropathy is not.
I first started noticing problems a couple years into my NBA career, and I felt like my sock was just balled up right in the arch of my foot, and there'd be areas of burning and tingling, and then there'd be other areas of deadness where there would be no response to touch. We tried everything possible, from surgery to different drugs, to try and take care of some of the symptoms.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, non-drug, pain-free procedures that have helped thousands of neuropathy sufferers find relief.
Now I'm able to spend more time doing the things that I enjoy, being on my feet.
If you experience numbness, shooting, or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Do you have multiple broken or missing teeth? Think you can't afford dental implants? I'm Holly, part of the care team at South Seattle Smiles, a unique dental implant practice focused on helping patients use their medical insurance to help pay for life-altering dental implant treatment. You may qualify to receive total full mouth restoration for a fraction of the cost. We work with many employer-based medical insurances and are in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO. Your insurance company will never volunteer to help. I guide you through the medical insurance bureaucracy. I do it every day, and I'm really good at it. If you have employer-based medical insurance and you're ready to change your life, call me right now at 206-241-5533. You'll speak with me or one of our team members. Your insurance company will hate it. Your family will love it. Step up and call now at 206-241-5533 or find us at southseattlesmiles.com. Again, that's southseattlesmiles.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good evening. I'm Aaron Granillo. New clues tonight in the search for Travis Decker, the man accused of kidnapping and murdering his 3 daughters. Chelan County Sheriff's Office now says a lone hiker spotted near Kolchak Lake may be Decker. KIRO 7 TV's Brooke Griffin says the tip came in from a hiking party.
They say that group of hikers was in the Enchantments, and they tell us that they spotted a lone hiker. That person seemed ill-prepared for the elements, the weather, and for the hike itself, and appeared to be actively avoiding other people. Now, those crews that they reported the sighting to quickly found a lone hiker near Kolchak Lake, who then ran from sight when the helicopter passed.
And again, the sheriff's office telling people in the Ingalls Creek area to lock their doors and to report any suspicious activity. Anti-ICE protesters arrive at the federal building in downtown Seattle. That protest growing as we speak. KIRO 7 TV's Jake Chapman is there.
Some of these garage entrances into the federal building here, these protesters have blocked them off with electric scooters and bikes. We have been told by people that are here that ICE wasn't allowing immigration attorneys or the public inside the building, but we have been told that problem was solved rather quickly.
Now, an ICE spokesperson telling KIRO 7 TV it respects the rights of peaceful protesters, but it is committed to removing undocumented immigrants. A ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee says President Trump has gone too far in deploying troops to Los Angeles. Washington Representative Adam Smith, a Democrat, telling CNN tonight